So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fourth episode of the PokéManiacs podcast. Today we'll be joined by our fellow usual members, that being SoulSilverArt and Camtendo. However, Dusty Gogoat will not be making it today as he is busy with work-related things. We also have a guest on today, which is Cayla's Capsule, who's going to be joining us, who's had some great theory videos about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and what the logos are showing us, what are they telling us, as well as the legendaries and possibly what the gimmick might be in this game. There's loads of stuff she's created that you guys can check out on her channel. But for now, we're going to get started with the podcast. I'm going to be unmuting myself so they can hear me. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are live and ready for the fourth episode of the podcast. So, as I said already, we're going to be going through and introducing everybody. So, we're going to start off with our usuals. That is, of course, SoulSilverArt. How you doing, my friend? Alrighty. And Camtendo, how you doing, my friend? Are you all right? Everything been good? Alrighty. And of course, our guest for today joining us, somebody who you guys may have seen recently as I've covered the great theories that this individual has been creating. Of course, joining us today is going to be Cayla's Capsule. How you doing? Excited to have you on because I think there is a lot to say. Also, apparently, I think I messed up.
People in the chat are saying we can't hear.
Yeah, I think it's just the volume was like lowered too much. But there you go, guys. We have their voices are in right now. Okay, their voices are in. There we go. You guys can hear them now. It should be fine. Yeah, it's for some reason.
Hello.
For some reason, this always happens. It's like the audio for some reason is always muted. But if you guys missed what they were saying, basically, SoulSilver's just happy to be here. Cam has been having some PC situation he's been dealing with, and Cayla's just happy to join us and, to talk about Pokemon. So, yeah, there we go. Alrighty, but
Good recap.
I guess, yeah, more or less. But yeah, so as I already mentioned, we're gonna be talking about just Pokemon-related stuff, everything to do with Riddler-Coup, everything to do with the most recent trailer, and all those subjects. I think we can kind of start from the groundwork, which, I know, Cayla, you've been mainly, as far as I've, seen most recently, you've been covering everything to do with, all the connections to do with anything from, I don't know, the quantum type stuff, as well as, I think you specifically brought up, what was it again? I could be wrong here. The Odyssey in connection to...
Nimona.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's one of the things we're going to go into today, as well as I think I want to, see if we can kind of get a little bit to talked about in terms of Riddler-Coux's most recent stuff. And I think, Soul, you have a lot to say on that because you've been just going ham on Twitter with that information. Then for me, I'm gonna be honest, I have been busy with a lot of different things, so I haven't been able to 100% involve myself with everything. But I guess, where do you guys want to start from? If I was to ask you guys, Soul, Cam, Cayla, where do you guys think we should start off from? Do we go back already, all the way back to the whole trailer and start from there, or do we go from somewhere else to begin with? Should we start all the way back then and discuss that first? Because I don't know, I'm kind of thinking, what would be the most logical thing to go in first? I'm assuming, we should probably start with the, whatchamacallit. I think we should really start off from where we talked about last time, which was, what exactly are the things in the logo we've been, seeing? What are the things in the logo that we've been referring to, we've been talking about this whole time? Does it have to do with either the, riding mechanics, as you have been saying, Soul, or is it on the opposite end to have to do with either the gimmick in this case, specifically it being about, I don't know, quantum time, etc., quantum, crystals and all that sort of stuff? I kind of want to go into that a bit further. So, I guess, Cayla, could you give us a TLDR version of that kind of theory that you have, just so people who may not know about it can kind of have an understanding on it? And then, Soul, if you can give your rebuttal to that, just so we know kind of where you stand on it, because I know you have a different opinion on it. So I just want to see what everybody thinks. But Cayla, could you just give us a TLDR on specifically your theory on that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, usually box art is kind of like a summary of the different things that you can expect from the game, because obviously they're trying to market all the different features that the game has to offer. So my theory involves each of the four symbols representing a different thing that we're going to be able to interact with, experience within the game. So one of the first ones I figured out was that there's a psi symbol that's upside down with this spiral. And that's like very relevant to something called quantum time. And specifically, I was looking at quantum time crystals because we know that crystals are obviously going to be a big thing in this game because we see the crystal kind of gimmick. And also there's the crystal at the end of the trailer. So I was like, okay, so that's probably related to quantum time crystals. I made a whole video about it. It's quantum physics. It's really complicated, but it's also really cool. Yeah, so that was like one of the symbols. And then there's another one that looks like it's multiplayer, and is similar to something from Gen 7. There's a type of battle where you have 4 people battling each other at once, and the symbol looks just like that. So I think that's probably related to that. There's another one that looks like a sextant, which is a navigational instrument. And specifically, this one has 2 zeros on it. Which for a sextant is an index error, meaning that the horizon isn't processing correctly, which could mean we're navigating a very strange space. And then the last one is the Pokeball symbol, and this is the one that I'm the least sure about. But it does look a lot like the symbol that's used for stats within Pokemon, and each of the games we've had recently has had some sort of mechanic involving ways to alter Pokemon stats. So I think this might be related to that, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Alrighty. That's a great explanation. So I think that summarizes it for anybody who hasn't seen her videos, which I would recommend go watch them because you will get far more context by watching. Like, definitely do. I watched them as well, and it gives you way more context. Like it's they're way more detailed there. So you guys should definitely go check out Cayla's like videos and see them. And actually, if we can get Suba, if you can just in chat link her channel, that'd be awesome. But then I want to just hear. So that's your theory, and that's your standing theory. And I'm kind of wondering because I know Soul, you have a kind of opposite view on this because I know you said that you think it's a different way, like you see it a different way and look at it in a different perspective. So I'm kind of curious just to see why you think a different way and also what it is that makes you think that it doesn't have to do with the theory that like Cayla's put forward. So just want to hear what you think and what your points are.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Cayla, it's good to have you on. Ruffles putting us against each other right away, but
I know, right?
Yeah,
I like conflict. I like war.
Yeah.
No, it's good to discuss other theories though, because that's how you get new ideas and like kind of figure out what is probably, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
It's not antagonistic. It's like a good thing.
Oh no, I'm not trying to get you guys to pit against each other. It's just that like I want to see like, you know, because if you have theories, right, the whole thing with the theory is that you should be able to, you know, look at it and be able to try to poke holes in it and be able to like, you know, like find like things that do match, don't match, etc. Like that's kind of the fun part of it, right? Because a theory like
absolutely.
is, you know, like it's not like iron tight. It's just a theory at the end of the day. Otherwise it would be fact, right? If it was fact, then that's one thing. But since it isn't fact, it's all about trying to like, you know, figure out like, you know, look at each other's theories and be like, okay, well this thing in your one doesn't really make sense, or, you know, well, and vice versa, right? So it's not about like getting you guys to pit you guys against each other in that way. It's more just like I want to see like, you know, what Soul Silver, like what you think in the grand scale of things with this comparably, because a lot of things that Cayla's like theory says are super like they just match so well, but on the other hand I feel like some of the things you have mentioned kind of go so well against it that it's like it's kind of hard to tell what, like, you know, matches the best. So that's why I was kind of wondering, right, like, you know, if you can just give us your rebuttal on it and what you think personally they are related to more, and if there is, like, proof towards those things. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the main thing is that probably it could be both. But the main thing I was, like, mostly disagreeing with was, like, the quantum time, just crystal, the whole, like, that final scene that they show us. That was, like, my main thing with, like, just in disagreement kind of thing. But to go into what those 4 symbols are, I totally can see exactly what you're saying, like, with what Cayla was saying, that they add up perfectly to what she's talking about. But for me, I would actually believe that, like, 100%, if I didn't know what Ku was saying. You know what I mean? And just because he's an actual, like, credible leaker that has real information, you know, that's like, it changes my mind a bit towards things, just because I'm like, okay, this is like almost fact, let's say. You know, it's hard to just be like, that's a theory, So basically what he said was that the legendaries would have 5 forms, okay? He never said that they would be rideable forms. That's something. But he did say that they would have 5 forms each, and that you only see one on the box art, and you don't see the rest of them yet. So right away, you look at that and you say, okay, well, there's 4 symbols, like underneath the exact like dragon's head. I just did a thread about this actually today, just to I actually studied up about it, and I watched all of Cayla's videos. They're awesome. You guys should totally go watch them. The detail's crazy. But yeah, so the 4 symbols could totally mean the 4 different ways that we ride them. Now, where do I get ride them from? Well, it's from Ku's other riddle, which was riding legendaries, basically. You guys would have to look into that. I'm sure most of you know about it already. But yeah, I mean, that's that. I just, when you look at the main box art, it's just so big right in front of your face. Like, this is important. This is something which I think me and Cayla definitely agree on this, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's something. It's not just whatever. So like, that was my main thing. And then putting them together actually makes it work a lot better, especially the navigation part of it, about it, like the sextant thing. I was like, yes, okay, we're getting somewhere with this. Because just the navigation one, is it used for flight, Cayla, or is it used for sea travel?
So what's really cool about sextants is that they can be used even in outer space. All you need is you just need like a horizon and an object that doesn't move very much. So like a star, for example, they don't really move, right? So you can use the sun, you can even use the moon because it doesn't move fast enough for like our eyes to really perceive it. So as long as there's some sort of big thing that you can see like that, you can use it to measure the distance of objects.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I mean, so that like adds up to me, because if we're looking at like 4 different ways of travel, so I guess I don't know if I want to go backwards here, but because the conflict between us is probably that you're saying there are 4 features in the game and I'm saying there are 4 ways of travel, but it does add up in a way with like, if there's 4 ways of travel, I do think that one of them is a space type of travel or interdimensional type of travel or inside a quantum crystal type of travel, because of what Ku said. So I just like base it kind of all on that, which is the picture that he showed was one of Solgaleo and Lunala going through the ultra wormholes, and the other one was like walking, and the other one was flying, and the other one was swimming. So all of that together just adds up to me. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, sure. I think that definitely makes sense, and it could be that the 2 theories are actually just connected. The one that's weird for me especially is the multiplayer one and the Pokeball one. Because I can't see like those 2 are the ones I have the most trouble with.
There is I think I already covered this because this was sent to me by Lindsay Sensei. He kind of put together a kind of interesting theory on that, on those 2. I do not know the first one, like the one that's supposed to be for multiplayer with like the 4 circles. But the one that looks like a Pokeball, the explanation you have for that one is that it kind of looks like I could be wrong here, but it looks like I'm gonna make sure I get this right. I think it's a astrolabe. I could be wrong about what I'm saying. An astrolabe is what it looks like. Astrolabe, which is also an object that's seen on the Portuguese flag as well. And he kind of was able to connect all the logos, like all of them, all the ones that are shown in like all the little like circles and all the icons, connect all of them to different like nautical or just generally like something used to like measure distance or just like for traveling in one shape or form in some way, right? So like the way I look at this is I think that like there's clearly something going on with crystals, okay? Because we've already talked about the whole time connection in here. Like there's something happening here with that, obviously. Now, if that has got to do with like, quantum crystals in particular, I do not know. Because it all depends on how deep like Pokemon is willing to go with certain things, which they are, by the way, willing to go pretty deep with some of the like IDs and weird wacky stuff they're willing to do. Like it's not like it's out of question for them to like include very strange things. So
totally,
it's not impossible, right? It's literally not impossible. But like he says also the one in the Portuguese flag is the armillary sphere. That's the one that matches to the Pokeball. The other one though, I think matches to one of the other ones. It's just hard to know because the text I received and the image I received are not like in the correct order, so it's kind of hard to know what is exactly what. But
well, what is that one's function though?
I'm not sure what the function actually is of the armillary sphere.
So an Astrolabe and an armillary sphere are very similar. An Astrolabe and an armillary sphere are very similar, and they kind of are almost like a map of space, especially around the Earth and Sun and like our solar system specifically. So the weird part about that being related to travel would be that, you know, if that is the way that it is in the travel theory and like the different forms theory, then all of them are kind of related to, you know, space in a way. And so that's why I get stuck on that theory, is because, you know, I want that to be correct because it fits so well with what Ku is saying, but it seems like all the forms are doing the same kind of travel, and that's like where I get stuck on it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could totally be wrong too.
I mean, it might be somewhere in between, so.
Yeah. I think, well, so what I was thinking was, and I messed it up in my thread again, but I messed it up like 3 times. But the sextant one that you were talking about, I thought it was for use for like nautical, like underwater stuff. So, but if it could be used for flight, right? Because that's what the context would be. I mean, you would probably not use it in space right now. It was made for
Actually, so it was made a really, really long time ago, but it's been used not just it's been used nautically mostly, but it also is used for air travel and also even in space. Like astronauts have used it as well. It's a really cool thing. Researching it was really fun. Yeah.
Okay, so by the way, I got an explanation for an armillary sphere, by the way. Variations are known as spherical astrolabes or armilla or armill, is a model of objects in the sky or celestial sphere, consisting of a spherical framework of rings centered on Earth or the Sun that represent lines of celestial longitude and latitude and other astronomical important features, such as the ecliptic, and as such, it differs from celestial globes. So I think it's just like a way to more or less, I guess in simple terms, figure out where like certain celestial bodies in the sky are located at specific times.
Yeah.
I think
it's like a space map. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it does. There you go, space map. That works. Yeah. It does make sense to me though. Like, so if you take the sextant and you say, okay, it's either sea travel or flight, you know, one of those. It could even be space, but since we're talking about 4 different ones, you know, it could be. Let's just say that it's the flight. Okay, then the other one with like the wave and the symbol that you were talking about, Cayla, that started this whole thing. Makes me think of like the sea kind of thing. Give me 1 second really fast.
It's all right. Actually, somebody ding-dong ditching on my door for whatever reason. Like, so random. That was so hilarious. Random. Yeah, dude, I was like, what's going on? Why is like, that's why I had to run for a second. I was like, who's ringing my doorbell? I open it and I just like, nobody there. I'm like, okay, thank you for just doing that.
I just got food brought to me, so that's why I was like, hold on.
That's fantastic. Go on.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're saying, you know, like one for the other one with the 4 like battle players that you were talking about, Cayla. I see it more like as a wheel, actually. So like it looks like a wheel to me, and I'm not. It's pretty basic compared to your like scientific ways of looking at it for sure, you know. But we don't know what the symbol is in the end. So to me, it does look like a wheel. So that one could be the wheel whole travel thing. And then the one that we've been talking about could be for space. The one that Ruffle just looked up. It does have a Pokeball in the middle of it. I'm pretty sure that there's a Pokeball in the middle of
it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it still adds up. I don't know if we'll ever get anywhere with it. I think that they can be connected, to be honest. The real question is, you know, is it part of the ride forms? Like, the ride forms are there no matter what. So that's a thing. Or are we getting like all these different features, which is totally possible because you actually reminded me of it, Cayla, because of Sun and Moon. You know, like they had that battle feature that was like totally random and like who even used it. But, you know, make like all of these other features in
okay.
mainline games all the time.
I have an input on the one that we can't figure out, the one you think is a wheel, which is again from Linsa Sensei, because he was the one who the image I have on screen right now. He specifically said that one could literally just represent the concept of travel itself, because if you were to like put it in the idea of like it's going in a circle, because if you look at it, it looks like it's kind of going in a circle of sorts. It could possibly be the idea of like if you literally put that like circle in the middle of the ocean between where like Portugal and Spain are, and well, just let's be realistic here, the areas they colonized, it literally just matches up kind of perfectly, which is kind of messed up to say, but could it just be a way to represent just the idea of traveling rather than being a wheel or any of that sort of? Like, could it just literally be the concept of, like, you know, individuals or whatever objects moving about, you know, traveling about? Like, is that a way to look at it?
Well, that kind of adds up. No, totally. That adds up with what Cayla was just saying, is that they all kind of seem to be pointing to the same way of travel. So, like, maybe they are just pointing to that they can travel, you know, like that they are rideable, that they get forms and that they're rideable. And then there's a whole nother aspect to it that we are not seeing or that we can't fully tell, you know, something like that.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to like look at this I'm trying to look at this in every way and shape, and I don't know. It's kind of hard to like try to determine what it is. Like, it's really hard to determine exactly what it's like trying to say.
The main thing for me is that it's like in the border of the dragons, like it's almost their body. And then I realized the whole like their wheels are actually in the border as well. And not only that, but like Koraidon has like got these little wind like swirlies around it and like more scaly looking. And then Miraidon's is like more electric and, you know, which gives away its typing, honestly. And it's got like just straight bars that's very modernistic like looking. So I don't know. I mean, I know that they're related, but I just don't know if it's all one thing or they're showing us multiple things at once, you know?
Yeah. I'm also wondering, because, you know, the legendaries are going to have all these rideable forms. How early in the game are we going to get them? Or are we going to have like other Pokemon that we can ride instead of them for a while?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's one of the hot questions.
I feel like
I had a theory about that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe we do get other ride alternatives, and then once the legendary comes around, we can like switch out for the legendaries.
That's just kind of like the all-purpose ride Pokemon.
Yeah, like that.
But then that creates a problem, because that kind of makes the previous versions obsolete, doesn't it? So like it makes
unless it's like optional.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, of course. But it's like I'm thinking like, but also then what's the like? I guess if it's supposed to serve all the purposes, then it kind of defeats the purpose of the previous ones eventually. And it's just one of those things I think of where it's like invalidating all the previous stuff, which I feel like they would not be willing to do that, because the amount of work that for them, and you know, for them to have to implement a Pokemon that is rideable, right, doing all the work and etc., whatever they have to do, just the work they have to do there. If you then compare that to, you know, the idea of like, oh, but we could just have a singular legendary Pokemon that does all of that, and we're going to have that in the game, and also these ones, but as soon as they get the legendary, they don't even need to use the other ones, just because of convenience, whatever, right?
That's
like,
true.
Like, I don't know, it just feels, I don't know, as much as I'd want to have them give us the ability to, like, you know, how would you put it, to have, like, access to...
multiple
I don't know, like something, like multiple, like, you know, Pokemon to ride. Like, for some reason, I think there might be a chance for it. And the only reason that I think there is a chance is because of the obsessive amount of like racing themed stuff in this region. Like, we have everything from like the you know, like the gas station looking Pokemon centers to the like the racing flags from like one of the gyms possibly, as well as just like even like wheels being advertised, like straight up wheels. And the idea of like traveling. I mean, have you guys seen that one where it's like I think it's a quillfish, and it's like a wheel going towards the quillfish?
Yeah,
like,
I saw that.
Yeah, to make like a little goofy joke, like, oh yeah, you know, get your insurance for your wheels to make sure the quillfish don't ruin it. It's like they're making a whole joke out of it. So clearly, there's a whole like racing, driving, traveling connection here. Like this whole region, the thing they keep like pointing at is the idea of travel, right? The idea of being an open world that you can traverse at your own pace, or
exploration.
Exactly. It's all about exploration, and it all fits in perfectly with a region that's based on 2 countries that have explored the literal whole world. You know what I mean? Like, I think Portugal was one of the first countries to actually also interact with Japan, for example. They were also the ones who introduced, I think, like, what do you call it? Like muskets, but basically weapons. They introduced armed weapons to them, a long time ago. So what I'm trying to say is, we are literally, like, everything here is somehow connected to the idea of traveling, moving about, and all that. So, like, it would be so weird if they have all these racing themes, but then only the legendaries can do the actual traveling. It just seems a bit odd. But then it's like, at the same time, it's like, wouldn't it invalidate the meaning of the other Pokemon if, like, Koraidon, Miraidon can do everything? So, I don't know. But, yeah, what are you going to say, Caleb?
Has Ku confirmed that the different forms of Miraidon and Koraidon are all rideable?
No. So that's what I was saying. I mean, honestly, like, we could even be interpreting it wrong. I don't know how, but we could be. There's always a chance of that. But no, he didn't. He never said that. All he ever showed was the picture. I don't know if you can pull it up, Ruffled, but basically it was just a collage of rideable legendaries, and in the middle was a dog with wheels as well.
And did he ever say that it's Miraidon and Koraidon each having 5 forms, or him having?
Yeah.
Okay.
That he did.
Okay.
He did say that, and he did also say that was related to the legendaries, like, specifically.
Okay, cool. Because I was thinking, like, if there was, because I know some people have said that it looks like Koraidon is like a past form and Miraidon is like a future form of like one Pokemon potentially. And if that was the case, then you would have that Pokemon in the middle kind of thing. And then you would have Miraidon and Koraidon, and then you'd have their motorcycle forms, and then you would have 5 forms total, But if it's 5 forms for each individually, that doesn't add up.
Yeah, he said they both get 5 forms. So I don't know if that's like the exact...
I've got the image up on the screen. FYI, the text on it is a bit, again, it's Riddler-Ku, so you have to bear with me on that.
Not safe for work.
Yeah, it's not safe for work at all. For whatever reason, Riddler-Ku just loves to put, like, a lot of stuff in it. Let's ignore that and look at the actual riddle part of it, okay? So, yeah, this one includes a flying picture of, as far as I remember, a flying picture of Lugia, that kind of, like, delta part of Oras, where you ride on, like, Mega Rayquaza, Kyogre when you're diving with it, and Groudon when you have to, like, ride on it, like when it's, like, going through the lava or whatever. You also have one of N riding on what is it, Kyurem, I think, and Solgaleo, like, Ultra. Yeah, sorry, Zekrom. Yeah, my brain is numb. And Solgaleo, like,
are about to attack you.
Dude, sorry. My brain was like, wait a minute, this is not like I even knew it's not Kyurem. I was like, wait, why am I saying Kyurem? I was like, but it, like,
whatever, man.
Anyway,
Zekrom's the old Miraidon now. So.
That's kind of true, though. And then we also Solgaleo Ultra Wormhole Surfing, or whatever you want to call it. That's also there at the end. So if we look at all of them, there is something that's a little bit strange. Like, for example, the one of in this case, like, I guess Lugia and I guess, let me look at this. So we have one Pokemon that's diving, right? Obviously, like, Kyogre has got to do with diving and not surfing, I'm assuming. Groudon is the strange one that doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm guessing that one, the closest connection there would be to something like Sneasler, like a climbing, possibly, because it has, like, some kind of rock connection, so maybe like a mountain climber kind of deal.
Unless this is the first game that adds lava surfing.
where would they even find that?
It could also be like Strength and Rock Smash, though.
Yeah, that too.
That is true. Yeah, that is correct.
Or like Mudsdale. Like Mudsdale in Gen 7?
Oh, yeah.
It ran over the rocky terrains.
Yeah, that's fair. But see, that's the thing. He wouldn't. I don't feel like he would have included all these legendaries in the image, right? And then having this all be about, like, travel and stuff, because all these images are showing characters traveling some way or shape, right? And if we actually if we connect all of them, one has got to do diving. Groudon could be the one that is, well, the equivalent to Rock Smash, Strength, a Pokemon that can kind of do those things. Lugia just looks like it's supposed to be flying. Rayquaza is the one that is a bit strange to me. Is it supposed to be space travel, or what's that supposed to be?
It's going into space, that's for sure.
Okay, yeah, because it's clearly it's like headed towards space. Isn't that the part where, like, it's supposed to destroy a meteor or something of those?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah.
The opposite side, yeah.
And then, but then also the one with N on it, like that one as well, just doesn't, like Zekrom just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's just him flying, I guess. Like, does anybody know the context of that image itself? Like, is there more behind the image, or is this just like,
I think it's a TGC image.
Yeah, it is.
But then what? Like, I don't get it. Like, that one is so confusing to me because it serves the same purpose as Lugia, or am I crazy? Like,
it does.
It doesn't
then
feel
again,
like it's saying anything. It feels like, unless, oh, wait a minute. I do actually see the difference, though. I think if you look at the image of Ash there, doesn't it kind of feel like the Lugia, it would be more similar, possibly? I could be crazy here, okay? But they seem to be flying lower. Is that maybe supposed to be similar to how we use Hisuian Braviary to not really fly, but more like glide, almost? Like, is it possible that maybe, like, the Legendary might have a form that will be more like gliding rather than literally flying? And then, like, the other one around here, the one with, like, N and whatnot, is specifically for flying. Solgaleo, I think we all have the answer for that. That's gotta be something to do with, like, I'm gonna guess here, something to do with, like, traveling, like, fucking the space and time, literally, like, through wormholes. Like, it's gonna be the same, like a similar thing happening next. We already know that time travel is an obvious thing that does exist within, like, within all of this. Actually, Dusty says something interesting. He says Lugia could be connected to Dive, and then Kyogre is Surf. That's a fair point, actually. That actually would make sense.
Well, the thing is, though, with this, you might be digging into it a little too much, because I think that's count how many forms there are, though, too. Yeah, because there's really only 4.
That's true.
Because the 5th one is like, we don't know what the 5th one really is, the one that's on the box art. Like, maybe it's something, maybe it's just their regular, standard kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that Ku, with that, he needed to make a riddle, like, so he had to make it more, let's say, involved, he had to make it more engaging. So he added, like, more things. It doesn't mean that they don't mean anything. Like, multiple ones might mean the same one, though,
That's true.
Yeah.
Because I would assume the same one that can do the surfing can also do the diving, right? I don't think you need two separate Pokemon. I think that they can do the same purpose, right?
Although, are we really going to get Dive, though? We haven't had Dive in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know about Dive,
I don't know about that, but,
to be honest. There's already a whole open world and everything.
But I feel like he could have easily included a different Pokemon here. I feel like he easily could have included a different Pokemon for this section rather than Kyogre, diving specifically. Because that's literally what he's doing in this case. You are diving with it. But like, it feels like you could have used another one. Then again, everybody in chat, most people are saying that Lugia is for diving, Kyogre surfing, Rayquaza is for Horizon, which I'm not really sure what that's supposed to mean exactly. But Zekrom is for flying, Solgaleo is for space. And then nobody had an answer. Like, nobody's saying anything about Groudon. Poor Groudon. Just being forgotten. But I don't know. I mean, it could also be, you got to remember also, like, it could also be, again, that they are packaging here. Multiple of these things could be all in one. Like, the Rayquaza one and the Solgaleo one could literally be serving the same purpose. It's just that they're like, under the same guise, like, under the same form, but they can do 2 different things, is always a possibility. It doesn't mean that it has to be limited to one specific aspect. But, I don't know, man. This, like, I don't feel like we ever got, like, more of this explained. Like, I don't think he's gonna give us more on this one, is he? I think what we've got is what we're like. That's it, right?
I think he want to elaborate on it until the game's release.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's such a crazy concept to think that they could get 5 forms. Like, that's out of control.
Yep. Speaking of which, I'm actually really curious about the whole idea behind a 3rd legendary, because I know Soul, you've been like going ham on this whole subject, and I want to just see, like, Cayla, like, what your theory is on a possible 3rd legendary, and if you think it has any connections to any stuff we've seen so far, and then we'll go in and say stuff as well, because I do have some stuff I want to say about it, but I want to see what your thoughts are first. So, do you have any theories on a potential 3rd legendary, what it could be like, what it could be based on, etc.? Like, just slide it right in.
Yeah, so my only thought on it is based on the Riddler coup. There was a riddle where he had the 2 different... It was like a Pokemon Masters riddle, and there were 2 dragons, and there was a Regirock in the middle. And so it seems like that the game, the original name of the game was Titan. And so it seems like that 3rd legendary is somehow going to be related to Titan, like whatever that ends up being, like whatever that means. And there's also the person in the middle is mostly wearing green. So it seems like they're alluding to Nimona, which makes a lot of sense since, her name comes from Odysseus. And one of, like, the most famous stories, the story that her name actually comes from is the one where Odysseus takes on a Cyclops. So I don't know if it'll be a Cyclops per se or some other type of Titan creature. But I wouldn't be surprised if Nimona has something to do with that legendary.
All right. Yeah. So, See, I didn't know about the Cyclops thing. That's something that because I like, only thing I remember about the Odyssey, well, honestly, barely anything from reading it in school. But my kind of like point on that is like Nimona clearly has to be, in my opinion at least, has to be the representation of the third legendary. I think we can all agree on that, right? Like,
I think so.
Because like the way I've always looked at this, and the way I've kind of like been speculating this with with Soul, is the whole idea. Like, again, I haven't gone as far as you have, Cayla, on this, but like just where my brain kind of goes, just looking at it from very surface level, is like, you know, of course we looked into her name. I didn't like fully get the connection to, you know, the Odyssey until you just mentioned it. So totally kind of like went over my head initially, but the thing with Nimona for me is more about like how she fits in alongside everything else we've been shown so far. Like, as you mentioned, if you look at the two legendaries, and as everybody's noticed, and it's pretty on the nose, it's not very, you know, like impossible to see what it is. They're clearly based on a future and past version of possibly the same Pokemon, which, again, we don't know if it is the same Pokemon, but I still think it is. Like, everything seems to feel that way. And for some reason, I just can't imagine it being a Cyclops per se. Like, for whatever reason, I cannot imagine them having us like have a legendary with just a single big eye, and that's a massive humanoid looking thing. I have a hard time imagining it.
I don't think it necessarily has to be humanoid, though.
Oh, that's fair. That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it might just be some sort of giant one-eyed creature.
I wonder how they would pull that.
I mean,
actually, no,
Melmetal is that.
Yeah, that, to be fair, that is true.
Right?
Yeah, Melmetal kind of is that already. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I guess they could pull it off. It's just that they would have to like kind of. But I do wonder then how it matches in, because in my head, the way I look at it is that Nimona kind of represents the present, whereas the other two professors represent the past and the future pretty obviously, right? Like you can see it on the designs of, Sada and Turo, and even in their names, literally Pasado, Futuro, like, you know what I mean? Like literally one meaning past and one future. Like it's really on the nose. It's like right in front of us. And then the one that's an odd one out that doesn't look super, that just kind of fits into the current time of, you know, where the games are taking place is Nimona, right? She's like she's the only one that fits into that time. And if you look at the other two, they're kind of both like, in terms of the colors that they are represented by, is either A, on like the one side of the spectrum being on the red, or the other side being, you know, purple. The only thing that's in the middle is green, the one color that is represented on Nimona. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed it, or am I crazy? Doesn't she look a little bit older than our main character, like just in design and everything? Like it's just like,
she does.
It just looks way more like a mature character than our characters, which just makes me like think to myself like she feels odd one out. If you compare every previous like rival we've had, anything like that, I feel like they've never been like, you know, too much different from our main character. I mean, of course, they're different color, you know, like of hair, you know, whatever, that sort of stuff. But I feel like most of the time they've been like, if they're rivals, they've been like our age. They've been like our rival, our peers, right? Now it feels like she's like an upperclassman or something.
The only exception to that would be N, because I think N's canonical age is 21, while the protagonist's canonical age is like 15.
However, I don't put N as a rival, though. I wouldn't consider him a rival.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I wouldn't consider him a rival, though. I don't feel like he fits the mold. He's like I don't know, he's above that, like way beyond that.
You want to know what's crazy about that?
Yep.
So the uncle leak, right? Mm-hmm. It specifically talks about how the story is similar to Black and White, and like, so I was going to go back to your main point, Ruffled, and say, like, you know, like, Nimona's definitely the rival. She's definitely the, like, related to the third legendary. We don't really know if that's true or not. Like, we're just really assuming it. It feels that way more than anything. Mm-hmm. But, so what if she's, like, more of an N character throughout the whole thing, and we have another rival that is actually our peer, because, you know, like, the rivals usually get the other starters, and she does not get the other starters. She's getting all of those other Pokemon, you know?
See, it's interesting you mention that, because I 100% agree with you on that. I have been spending a lot of literally all of my day today making a video about Pokemon Black and White, And the one thing I instantly noticed was the similarities. Like, if you look at, like, specifically Black and White, it also has the theme of past and present. If you guys remember the, what is it called again? The, holy shit. No. In Black and White. I just need to make sure I find this. I don't mess up.
Are you talking about Appaloosa City?
No. Give me a second. I'll find it. Give me a moment. You can say your thingy while I find this, and I'll pop in again. Give me a moment. So you were gonna say something, Cam? Go right ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say another rival that we had was Gladion, who instead of having the stronger starter, his type Null and Savali would have the disc that would have whatever type was stronger against our starter. So they have proven that they're like straying less and less from giving our rival the opposite starter and giving them a different team to show more variety. But they also have given us more than one rival to also break that mold as well, because of course Hal got the other starter, but when Gladion appeared, he had Savali, which was a straight up legendary. And even in like later games like Sword and Shield, we got three rivals. Only one of them got the starter. The other two had their own thing going on, and then the DLC happened when we got Clara and Avery, who both had a ace being Slowbro. So
yeah.
I found my thingy, by the way. I found my thingy. Just want to add this before I forget about it. What I noticed about Black and White, and when I look at these games, is in Black and White, you also have these locations. Because haven't you guys noticed? This is like the first time in a very long time where there's actually version differences that do make a difference. We have two professors that are literally different depending on the game you're playing. This is not something that, like, let's be honest, this is not something we often really see. We usually, like even though we have two different games, it's usually just a few exclusive Pokemon. I mean, a la Sword and Shield. Like, what was the difference between those two games? Like the legendary you get, and like, you know, a few
B and Alistair, Alistair, Melanie, Gordy, and like, their rivals in the DLC.
Yeah, it's like minuscule shit. That's like, I mean, I wouldn't count the DLC because that's side content. We're looking at a base game. Yeah. The only difference is like a few gym battles and exclusive Pokemon, more or less, right? But I'm looking back at Black and White, and what they had, that some people do not remember, but what they had, which was massively different, was the Black City and the White Forest. These were locations that were exclusive to either game, and you couldn't access them between each other. Right? Like, if you were playing, I think I remember, if, like, you were playing Pokemon Black, then Black City was the one that you could actually, like, you know, get to. It's completely exclusive to Pokemon Black back then. You know what I mean? So this is a whole location, a whole area, a whole part of the map that's only available to that game. And then in Pokemon White, it's the same thing with the White Forest. It's the same principle. It's only available there. You know what I mean? And it has those areas had a wide variety of, you know, wild Pokemon that were exclusive, characters that were exclusive, tasks that were exclusive. Again, the point I'm trying to get to is, if what, like, the Chinese Riddler's been saying or whatever, like the Chinese uncle, if what he's been saying matches up with, like, you know, with what I've been just kind of researching, as far as I can tell, we will be seeing like that level of like differencing between them, because we already have proof that it's going to happen with the professors. We already have proof there's going to be version differences that are drastic, you know, which then, I don't know, it makes me like wonder how deep they're going to go with that, and how like deep like, you know, they're going to go with the story, because the last time they went deep with the story was what, like Black and White 2 was the last time they went like any deeper than just, oh, hey guys, the evil guys rose, boo-hoo, you didn't know. Say a lot, like, actually, Legends was actually
Legends
Legends
before
was
that,
decent with that. So yeah,
before that, base Sun and Moon, before Ultra Sun and Moon kind of ruined it.
Oh yeah, that's fair, dude. I kind of delete Sun and Moon out of my mind, to be honest.
I don't think it was as deep though.
Yeah, it wasn't as deep as Black and White, but the whole Lusamine and Ramon, like, that whole incident was kind of like really dark if you think about it.
Yeah.
Cayla, you gonna say something?
I don't feel like the two professors is all that crazy, because, like, I don't know, it reminds me kind of Hoenn, where we had the two evil teams. And like, and there were certain things that were changed because of that. And so I actually don't think it's going to be that drastic of a difference. It's going to be more like Gen 3 kind of a change.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll throw some fuel. I'll throw some fuel on Ruffled's fire over there, because I've heard some things though. I've heard some things about it being, the games being pretty different, because I was tweeting some stuff about, I don't know which one to choose, and some people replied and were like, you're gonna have to buy both. So, you know, like, I think that there might be like bigger differences than we're imagining. Like that's what was suggested to me. So I don't know if it's that true or not.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There is some stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised because can we like look at like where we are with Pokemon now? Like, let's realistically look at this. Now, I know some of you in the chat and some of the people watching, and maybe even you guys in the call right now, maybe you love every Pokemon game they've ever released, or you you objectively hate certain games or just do not like them, right? I feel like we can all agree that we have at least a least favorite Pokemon game, right? Here's the thing.
Favorite?
Like, yeah, obviously, yeah, right. But if we look like objectively at Pokemon in the last few last few years, it's been kind of on the downwards trend in terms of everything from like, just quality, polish, everything just has been kind of, dipping down.
It's weird to,
recently, that's the thing. Recently, ever since kind of Legends became a thing now, I feel like, and even the Sword and Shield DLC, I feel like something has shifted and they're willing to take more risks. And with more risks, I feel like they're willing to put in like things that they maybe did in the past. Because like remember, Black and White, if you look back, they were technically some of the worst performing Pokemon games of all time in terms of sales. Like they technically were some of the worst selling ones. If we're not counting like third versions, we're counting base mainline games. I think they're at the bottom of that list in terms of sales. Like they underperformed a lot.
Yeah, I haven't
like
it or
heavily.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, that was them taking a risk. That was them trying something new. That was them trying to, like, make it more interesting, more intriguing, more deep story, if you want to put it like that, right? And then that kind of backfired, I guess, on them, because back then people just, I guess, weren't ready for it. And people got pissed off, because people like getting pissed off. Got pissed off about certain things. And you know what? Maybe now they're willing to actually, I'm going to just say it's, pardon my French, they got the balls to actually try different stuff. I mean, Legends was way different than any of us could have expected at the time. Because let's be real, when they were announcing it, most of us just expected to see a regular Diamond and Pearl remake. Not Diamond and Pearl remakes plus a semi-open world Pokemon game set in the past. Like, that was incredibly, like, I mean, I know, again, there are other studios that make crazier and bigger games, but at the end of the day, that's kind of bold of them to do. Like, and even releasing them that close to each other, it just shows that they're willing to try new stuff. And I think included in that is them willing to add in more version differences to actually give people a reason to buy and play these games more. Because if people play them longer, then people will be busier longer with them, giving them, I would assume, a little bit more like leeway to get like DLC going, etc. And also, if people are busy playing both versions, by the time DLC actually is released, people will be able to actually finish the games and be ready to, actually go and buy DLC. So, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but what do you guys think?
People in the chat said, how would multiplayer work if the games were so different? But then somebody suggested the multiplayer could work if you join the other game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the differences don't have to be something like, oh, the map is fully different in one game and the other. No, it doesn't have to be that drastic differences. I'm more thinking of in the terms of, let's say, a specific, like, set of gyms are a bit different, or a specific set of, like, that's just the basic stuff, right? But, like, maybe there's, like, locations where, you can enter, like, if you're not playing with your friends, only you in Scarlet version can enter it. And maybe you can only enter it with people that are playing Scarlet version, and then vice versa.
I mean, that's a huge theory.
Like, I think it is possible. Like, again, they could also just be like lazy and not care about trying to do anything more deep or interesting. But you're not wrong. You're like, yeah, technically, yes, it would add like a layer that would be a bit complicated. But at the same time, that's also a great way. Technically, if you think about it, isn't that a great way also, if you do have version differences, a good way to promote using the multiplayer by having things that are different in the other person's like game that you can't see. So if like one person is, let's say, acting as the host, then you join their game, their world, and their instance, and what happens is you get to see what's in Violet, which is not available in your game. So it incentivizes you to buy the the Nintendo Switch Online like premium function, so you can actually be able to experience those things in case you're not buying both versions. Like, if anything, I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect to have like more version differences.
Yeah, that's a huge theory. I think that's really spot on. Like, if there is version differences like that, they could totally like add in the 4-player multiplayer to make it sellable, let's say, That's great, I think.
Yeah.
Will it happen? I don't know. Will it happen? I don't know.
Fan said, have you noticed that Eternatus is Scarlet and Violet? Do you mean in terms of colors? Because I think somebody did say that Eternatus is shiny matches the colors. Like, if you look at the regular one and the shiny one, the colors match up with Scarlet and Violet. I think somebody did say that. Which wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. I don't really know because I don't have a clue what its shiny looks like. And then JW also said, what do you think Titan stands for? The third legendary, the gimmick itself, or something else? And then Devin said, Nemona looks like those weird 3D CGI Barbie commercials from the early 2000s. All right then, Devin. That's just random. But as for the third legendary and like what does Titan stand for?
Well, we can go back to that.
Yeah, like we I guess we pop it. Did you have something to say before that, or so? Or...
No, I mean, yeah.
Oh, if you have something, go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead. We'll get back to that.
I don't remember what I was thinking about with the other thing you were talking about.
Oh yeah, no, about the Titan name. And before that, we were talking about like the multiplayer aspect and the fact that like possibly, at least what I think.
Something to add to that.
Yeah, I think like possibly that like with the multiplayer aspect that they could easily. In my opinion, they could easily add version differences to incentivize you to buy the online multiplayer option to play with people, so that then you have a reason to do that because, oh, guess what? If you only own Scarlet, why wouldn't you want to hop into somebody like into like the online function with somebody else to play together with them to see the things that you can't see, or catch the Pokemon you can't catch, or etc. You know what I mean? Like I think it is. Of course, I am very much here just like tinfoil hatting. Okay, I got a massive tinfoil hat. And like conspiracy theory, like magazines everywhere. But like I'm very much imagine what they possibly could do. Of course, we are talking about Game Freak here, so never expect more than the bare minimum. So
that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest negative from it is like, what can we really expect Game Freak to do? Because to me, it almost sounds like Animal Crossing. Like you make your whole own town, and then someone comes and visits your town. Multiplayer kind of thing. Like it's possible, it's doable. Like they're a huge or not a huge studio, but a huge company that can do those kind of things. But will they? We don't know. The other thing I was going to say is that with what you were talking about, there being like them being risky and changing things, like. I think that there's major shifts going on in Pokemon right now, in the Pokemon company. Like just with Masuda moving up and James Turner quitting, and I just like EWOW did the did Pokemon Legends Arceus and then I just think that they moved all of the younger people up into it, into like senior-ish positions, like more prominent roles. So I think that there's definitely some shifting going on, and I think with those people, a lot will change. I think a lot is changing already.
I think with the recent games like Ultra Sun and Moon and the DLC and Legends Arceus, that they're starting to realize that these are really, even though a lot of people didn't like Ultra Sun and Moon, that we all have to admit that the features that Ultra Sun and Moon brought that were lacking in Sun and Moon were really good. So I think that they're starting to look at these younger employees and are starting to realize that they know what they're doing, and I think it's finally time for us to like hang up the towel and let the next generation hop in and take care of our games. So we're starting to see that pay off with these newer games that are taking bigger and larger steps versus a whole like mindset. Because remember, Masada had like an entire really like conservative mindset on how Pokemon should be, like certain features should stay in certain games, and now look, walking Pokemon is back in a mainline game for the first time since like Gen 4 with the whole thing, because every other time walking Pokemon appeared, it was either in a DLC or a remake or a reimagining of a game. This is like, we saw it in the second trailer. This is the first time that the game, like a new main series game, has had walking Pokemon and other features that we haven't seen in a mainline game in a long time. Again, I think this is them letting the younger devs take the big seat and just take care of their games. Yeah, that's just my input.
Like giving them the reins of everything. And I gotta just quickly say, Gamer Kier, thank you for the $20 donation, my friend. Holy moly, man, thank you. He says, yeah, Pokemon's definitely going to be a lot different going from here, but that might be a good thing. Which, yes, like Cam was just saying, it seems like they're giving the reins, I would argue, to maybe a younger generation of, developers over there. And as we already mentioned, the fact that we're seeing
definitely to EWOW and Omori.
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's the thing. Now that we're seeing like Masuda kind of parting ways and moving up, moving further up in the Pokemon company, which means that he still has a connection to Pokemon. He's not gone. He hasn't left the company. He's just literally moved further up to a more like a, like a CO type of like position. Like
it's less on the games though a bit,
Yeah, like a director. He's basically taking like a director.
Game development.
more like a director role, you know, like in like the Pokemon company, not Game Freak. So he's not in the game development section. He's more in like the business development side of things. You know what I mean? Like where does Pokemon go next?
I believe the role he took was head of decision making or something like that.
Oh, yeah. There you go. But that's the thing. So, I mean, of course, he's still going to have an impact. It's just he's not going to have an impact on the minutia of Pokemon. So, like, he might not be there deciding that, like, you know, he might be the guy deciding, like, oh, if we're going to have DLC or a third version, or if we're going to have, you know, this or that game first or second. He might be deciding those sort of things, but I don't think he's going to be deciding the more basic stuff, like, you know, will this feature be in there? Will this feature be in there, etc. I don't think he's going to be involved with that kind of stuff because I don't think I don't think he will have time for that. I don't think he'll be able to have, you know, the actual reasonable time to do that. So
yeah, because he's with Pokemon Company, not Game Freak anymore.
Precisely.
So,
but yeah, I'm kind of curious, Cayla, what do you think about like the direction of Game Freak? If you've been keeping up with what's been happening over there as well as the Pokemon Company and all that, what are your thoughts on the stuff we've been like discussing?
Yeah, honestly, I don't keep up with that much. I feel like the lore is like so much that a lot of times like the game design stuff, just like I just don't. Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. No, I'm just curious.
It doesn't even matter. Have you seen her stuff? It's just like crazy. I was watching your videos and I was just like, how does she know all of this? I don't keep up with like competitive or anything, you know?
Oh yeah, I love the competitive scene. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, you can only keep track of so much.
All fair.
So.
That's true. Oh yeah, I have been trying to jump into everything. I've been trying to like understand everything, but like I don't have enough brain cells to keep up with.
But how melted is your brain though? Because mine is for sure.
Dude.
Yeah. Right.
I've been diving into everything.
I do have an interesting point by Kai Max in the chat who says the ship of Theseus is a thought experiment that raises the question of whether an object that has had all of its components replaced remains the same. Miraidon is the new, while Koraidon is the original. That thing is an interesting
yeah.
thing. Like there is clearly some like do we all agree? Would we all agree that it is the same original Pokemon? Like
yeah,
I
can't agree
that it is the same. Like oh, you can't.
I can't.
Is it?
I think it's a
reason why?
Can
you give the reason why? I'm curious. Like,
just because of Pokemon, because of history, basically, because that's like a fan theory that would make so much sense. They look the same. Like, it's probably that, okay? But at the same time, it's like exactly what Pokemon would do, like Game Freak would do. They would just be like, oh, those look exactly the same. Of course, they're not going to be the same. They're totally two different Pokemon that are just similar. You know what I mean? There's no confirmation that they're the same. So for me, I just can't be like, all right.
I don't know if they'll be treated as the same Pokemon within the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's hinted at that they have the same, like, original Pokemon. You know, like they have some sort of connection.
That's a whole nother thing. Yeah, that's a whole other thing that could happen.
Oh, wait. Oh, interesting. Because Lindsay says, oh, it's not the same. The future one is man-made. So then technically they aren't the same?
What?
Or is this? Can we look at this almost like a? Can we look at this almost like a Mew type of thing? Maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah. Is that a better way to like maybe look at it? Because then it makes more sense. Like with one being essentially the original, and then the future one being literally just like well, I don't even know what to call it.
Think of it like a Dragon Ball Z. Think of it like a Dragon Ball Z situation where they're like he's like an android that has the DNA of Koraidon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, basically, because at the end of the day, Mewtwo and Mew are two different Pokemon. They're just Mewtwo is based on the DNA of Mew, so they are still different Pokemon, and that way they can avoid the whole like they're the same thing. So they, so like because if you say they're the same Pokemon, then people would assume like, oh, but then they should be able to like people might like look at it as they can evolve into each other or some bullshit like that. At least this way, you're able to differentiate them somewhat. But then I'm wondering again, where the third legendary fits in and if it has any relation to what these two look like. And does the third legendary have anything to do with what we've been talking about, like the whole traveling, the different forms of travel? Does that have anything to do with that? Or does that have to do more with like what I have been heavily speculating on? Again, the like color theory here, that this is all based, like the legendary is based on some form of like just something to do with literal light. Like just light itself, like sunlight. Because there's so many frames in the trailer, and Cayla, I don't know if you've like noticed it, but there's so many frames in the trailer where the sunlight is just shining and refracting in specific spots all the time. There's like nonstop like scenes with that's like present. There's a lot of like just references towards that. Even on the website, you have like literally like, you know, a circle and like, you know, it's literally the sun. It's like a drawing of the sun. That's the logo when you click to, like, you know, a forward button or whatever. Like there's a lot of connections to the sun itself. So it makes me think personally, just again, this is a theory that I put out before in multiple videos. The way I look at it is like this. I think that the legendary, that's the third one, is kind of the embodiment of basically all light. Like the kind of the thing that creates light, like aka the sun. Because if we like think about it, like people used to at some point in history worship all the weird things in the universe, right? Everything from the sunlight, assuming that's like a fire goddess, all the way to thinking the moon and like, you know, like planets out there were also, you know, literal gods and stuff. So people through history have believed weird things, which makes me think, is it possible that the third legendary is somewhat got a connection to the light, like sunlight specifically, and that's the way that the gimmick works. The gimmick has something to do with light refraction, and maybe that's what causes a change in Pokemon to possibly change and gain a third typing or something along those lines. And then the third legendary is the thing that causes that. That's the thing, like that's the Pokemon that causes this to happen in the region. It's the one that maybe almost, I wouldn't use the word radioactively, but almost like that is causing it to happen. Because if you, again, look at the color theory that I've been kind of pushing on people this whole time, the fact that, like, you know, you got ultraviolet on one end of the spectrum and infrared on the other side, which match up perfectly with Scarlet and Violet, which are also like, they're the lights we can't see. They're outside of the visible light spectrum for us humans. We can't perceive them at all. The same way we can't perceive the future or the past anymore. The past is past. We can't go back to it, and the future is, you know, in the future. We can't see it technically because it hasn't happened yet. The same way the past is something that has happened, but we can't go back to it or see it again. I mean, sure, there's pictures and video, whatever, but it's not the same thing. We can't experience those moments anymore. The same way we can't experience seeing infrared and ultraviolet light, and that's kind of the way I look at it. And then I'm thinking that what's in the middle is what creates all light, because all light comes from, well, all light ends up white until it like refracts out and becomes all the other, or like, you know, until it like spreads out and becomes all the other colors, you know, like it needs to bounce off something and then we can see it. You know, with our eyes, we can perceive those colors. So I'm thinking the third legendary, in my opinion, is related to light 100%. Like I have put that idea way too much in my mind to not believe it's the case. But again, I could be totally wrong. Cayla, what is your thoughts on the third legendary? Because you talked about the Cyclops, but is there more to it, or is there something you can say to like just debunk my like bonkers like tinfoil hat like theories?
I'm actually gonna add and support your theory.
Oh shit! Okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah. So I haven't talked about this because it's light is extremely complicated in physics. I don't know how much you guys have looked into it, but like it's a wave, but it's also like a particle. Like there's like lots of it's really hard to define. Yeah, it's really hard to define light, which is why I did not touch on it in my quantum time crystal video. But technically, quantum time crystals are often called crystals made of light. Okay. Yeah, so I think that it's entirely possible that these things could be connected. You know, I think it could potentially be likely. I don't know how deep they'll go down the light route because they've already had like Solgaleo and Lunala. But I could definitely see light being incorporated. I just don't know if it's going to be directly incorporated, if that makes sense.
Okay, because I'm curious, because, see, the thing is, with Solgaleo and Lunala, if Loxton and Ogrenest ever taught me anything, is that those were more the representations of, like, the sun and moon in terms of, like, alchemy, rather than the literal interpretation of sun and, like, you know, and moon, so to say, like sunlight and moonlight. Like, I think, like, the way I'm looking at this more in my head is more like the literal, like, sunlight that exudes out of the sun, rather than the, you know, the more, like, I guess, I don't know, cultural way of looking at it, almost, if you want to put it that way. I don't even know if that's the right word to use, but, like I'm looking at it more from, like, the literal way, right? Like, how sunlight is something that just we have all the time. I mean, it's the big ball of fire up in the sky. I don't know. Like, again, it's so complicated to explain the light thing, because I've just looked at it from the very most basic view, right? Which is, the light spectrum, you know, like how that operates, the colors within it, what's on one end, what's on the other end, and where does the legendary fit into this? Is it supposed to be, the third one is supposed to be in the middle, like the green color? Does it fit with that? Is it supposed to be a present version of the two Pokemon we have here? Or is it something else? Again, I have no clue. like it's too complicated to try to like figure out like what's going on. Like it's too complicated. I'm trying to wrap it all around my mind, but there is so many variables, so many. And actually, Clayman, thank you for the $10.
It's really the problem.
He says, in Aztec mythology, the four main gods, all the children of the creator god, at times fought over who would be the son, so perhaps Kor and Mir are sibling rivals. Now, you mentioned four main gods, though, which goes against the fact because there is only two of them. So I don't know if that would really fit. But there is actually, though, a lot of, like, I think Mayan like connections that could be made to the legendaries. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I'm trying to remember which one is again. I think Koraidon, right?
Koraidon.
Yeah, like its design looks very similar to like Mayan warriors, like their like headpieces and headgears looks very similar to that. Like has an oddly like identical design in terms of like the headgear they used to use on like the Mayan soldiers. And something we have to remember is that sometimes they do decide, like, again, Sword and Shield did it differently, but most of the other games tend to do it this way, which is like to make legendaries that are based on cultures that have nothing to do with the region like we're looking at. So in this case, we all know, Cayla, Cam, Soul, you guys all agree this is based on Spain and Portugal, right? Both those countries. Like these
obviously.
Yeah, we can all agree, right? So there's no questioning that if anybody's trying to like go against it. We know that that's what they're based on. So if we go from there, like we can't assume that everything within them is going to be based on specifically something from Spain and Portugal. Like there's always a chance, the same way, like I always use this example, X and Y. The legendaries in X and Y have, in my opinion, nothing to do with French mythology or history, really, because, I mean, maybe a little bit if you want to make the connection that a lot of Vikings used to raid a lot of cities on, like, the coastal areas of France back in, like, back in the day, but, like, there is no direct connection between the legendaries and their mythology.
They're Norse mythology.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the thing. There's no connection between them because they're based on Norse mythology. They're based on like the like the world tree or whatever.
Yggdrasil or something like that.
Yggdrasil. Yeah. That's what it's based on. So there's no connection there between those two, right? Like France and Viking mythology, it doesn't match, right? Which is what I'm trying to get to is Vikings always steal stuff. They really did. But that's the thing. Like with pirates, that's true. But that's kind of what leads me to the thought of like, we should look outside of always make sure to look outside of the myth, like the mythology and or history and culture and lore of just the regions that like these games are based on, because there's always value that can be found somewhere else. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like if we look at like, for example, like, even Galar, right? What's the name of the little elephant guy again? Just trying to remember his bloody name.
Kuffin.
Kuffin. Yeah, and also what's this evolution again? Can't remember the name either there. You guys.
Kaparaja.
Yeah,
Kaparaja.
So can we all agree that those two are clearly more based on like the Indian elephant in terms of their design? Like even their name, Kaparaja, like it has more of an Indian influence, which at the end of the day is a different culture, country, everything. Of course, you can make the argument, oh, well, the UK, well, let's just be honest, the British kind of ruled the whole world and colonized everything at some point in history. But like, at the end of the day, that's a different culture. That's it's like they're using something that isn't, based within England, or, like that's not, from there specifically. They're using like something from a different part of the world. It's some different culture. So there's always a chance that they could use Mayan culture. Why not? I mean, they've used like in Hoenn, for example, if I'm not mistaken, the legendaries are based on like Hebrew gods, if I'm not wrong, like the I think it was the Leviathan and what's the other guy called? I don't remember, but I think like Kyogre and Groudon are based on basically like Hebrew like deities or sort, not gods, but like deities of sorts, like some kind of deity, like mythological creatures or whatever, like that like fight each other till death, like. Which literally is what those two do, by the way. Kyogre and Groudon literally will fight each other until one side like falls to their death, which is not going to happen because they're equally essentially strong within lore-wise, right? Which is why Rayquaza has to stop them, or else they'll destroy the world. So, like, I feel like what I'm trying to say is that the idea of them like basing these legendaries are something within Spain is something that we have to like look at from a different, or Spain and Portugal, it's something we have to look at a little bit like as a moot point, because there is always a chance it could be based on something else. And I do think that if we look at like maybe other areas, specifically Mayan culture and, Aztec culture as well. There may be hints there towards what we might be expecting. Even Greek and Italian, history, and Roman, rather, history. We can look at those and learn a bit from it. Because I don't know if you guys saw this, and Cayla, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a lad over on Twitter who put together a really good breakdown of one of the frames we see during the first trailer within, like, the laboratory, not laboratory, but, like, the room where they're, like, showing off everything, like, the real-life room with all the drawings, all the, like, maps and stuff. And somebody did a breakdown noticing that a lot of the actual images within, like, one of the walls there specifically show off, like, Roman architecture, like a lot of, like, old Colosseum, like, drawings and even
there's no doubt that's gonna be
and like podiums and stuff like that. So
and Nimona too, and with Smoliv, like, there's definitely some Greek influence there.
100%.
But you might want to look up Mayan calendar because it looks a lot like that sun symbol.
yes, I covered this too. It is incredible because they look literally identical, which is crazy. So yeah, there is definitely, I would argue, some connection to, at least I think, based on what we've been able to kind of dissect so far, some connection to, like, Mayan culture, which then I feel like we need to dive even deeper. I've got a mountain. I really mean a mountain of, like, lore and stuff that's been sent to me and like, just everything that's been sent my way from Lindsay Sensei, because I think, like, he knows a lot about this because he lives there, so he knows a lot about, like, the Iberian Peninsula and, like, their, like, history and things of that nature. But he's been sending me a mountain of information about, like, connections that could be made. He also says, like, one more fun fact of the Cyclops. The poet Luis de Camões only had one eye. And it's like he makes so many of these crazy connections to the point that, like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, I literally have had, over the past, like, 48 hours from him, I think a book's worth of, like, information. Which I don't even know where to begin with. Like, I don't even know where to start with all the theories that he sent my way, because all of them make sense, but at the same time, my brain is, like, trying to, like, wrap itself all around all of it, but I can't. It's too much.
Yeah. I'm looking at the website now, and I definitely think there could be a connection between the sun symbol and quantum time crystals, because if you look at the website, the whole background for the website is this, like, quantum time crystal pattern, right? It's like that, like, really, like, weird pattern, and the sun is right there, so I'm like,
Yeah, and they can definitely do that, because the more I think about it, sun and moon had nothing to do with the actual sun and moon at all. Like you said earlier.
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
exactly. It was more about the Ultra Beast than it was, like, the actual title legendaries.
Yeah, it was more about, like, literally traveling through ultra space again, essentially. Like,
ultra space.
Yeah, like, it was basically dimension.
It was more about alternate dimensions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So, I mean, these games, again, could have some totally different meaning than what we are expecting. But
that's what's throwing us almost, is the light and sun and moon. Why sun and moon? It already exists, and we're like, oh, but it already exists, so it can't exist in Scarlet and Violet. It's just not true, really. Like, even with Necrozma, it does not, like, it's not the embodiment of light. It just takes light.
It just takes light, It just eats it. Like, it needs it to survive. It doesn't embody. Like, it's made of light, but it itself isn't, like...
I'm looking at the website right now, and they keep using... I don't know if it's, like, specifically, like you just mentioned, Cayla, like, that pattern of, like, the crystals and all that. It kind of, like, looks more to me... I could be crazy. Kind of like mosaics, which also technically are, like, usually made out of glass. And I feel like if you do look at, like mosaics. Crystals usually technically are made of some form of glass, right? Like, if we're thinking, like, traditionally, like, crystals and stuff, like, usually that's, like, made out of, like, some form of glass. If we're thinking, again, traditional speaking, no, I'm not talking about anything, like, super crazy here, but no, I feel like there is a connection all there. I feel like there is a connection between all of it. It's just like, what does it lead to? Is it more complicated than we think, or is it just very simple? I don't know. I really don't know.
I would think it was mosaics if it didn't have those little, like, dark gray diamonds that keep popping up that make it seem like it's not,
Something's happening. That's for sure. I mean, there's definitely some mosaic. I was going to tweet about it. There's some mosaic themes And that's just because it's a Spain and Portugal region.
Right.
There is some more of that also in the first trailer, in that like real life section of the trailer. As I mentioned, there is some like art pieces. Like there's one section with like a bunch of triangles with different colors. I think they're also like hinting towards like that kind of like mosaic theme that they've got going on, which does again fit with like the Iberian Peninsula itself. So with like their
mosaics are usually more organized too. And like the website does not look organized.
No, they're very.
The website itself does, not the pattern.
No, you're right. The more I look at it now, like the more I'm looking at it, the more crazy I'm going, thinking, yeah, this has got to be what you're talking about. This looks like like it's like just shattering, like time is shattering. Like I'm looking into it, I'm going crazy. I feel like my tinfoil hat is like merging into my brain. Like seriously, I'm starting to believe it. Every second I'm starting to believe it more and more, and it's making me go nuts.
Yeah. Welcome to my world. I've just been like this for like a week.
This is insane.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because in some way it makes sense though. Yeah, sorry, Soul, go ahead. Soul? Hello? I feel like Soul. I think Soul just passed away.
I think his brain exploded.
I don't know, but Soul just disappeared. Are you there?
Yeah, I don't see him.
I've got a picture of that.
I think he's lagging. I think he's just having lagging issues. I think he still is in Europe though, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's having issues, like because he's on vacation. So, yeah,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we can hear you now. What's up?
All right.
No, but what were you saying?
Oh no, I was just saying that Cayla should definitely do like a deep dive in a separate video about it, just about especially the quantum time crystal as related to it being a light crystal, because my whole problem with it is that it didn't connect to this whole thing that you're talking about, Ruffled, which with it being light related. Mm-hmm. And so that would put pieces together. So I mean, I'm sure it would take us some research and a little more deep dive.
Yeah, I feel like there is a connection between the two. I mean, I always assume that, like, because I feel like everything in my brain all connects back to light. But at the same time, it all makes sense, right? Because you guys also know the whole idea of like, if we were able to travel at the speed of light, it's always been theorized that we might be able to actually time travel. Like I've always used that as a basis for like a lot of this, because again, there is a theme of past, future, etc. Like time is a very present concept within these games, right?
That's what I say before.
But that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, oh, well, light fits perfectly into that. Light is kind of the basis for a lot of, like, a lot of our world. Like, a lot of things that we do are all is based on, like, our perception of light. Like, without the sun, literally, we wouldn't be able to exist, quite literally. So, like, I don't know, I always kind of, like, I'm trying to look at this from the perspective of how deep would they go with this? And how does like the light connect again to the quantum crystals, and then how do the quantum crystals connect to the games? In what way? Is it that they're a gimmick? Is it that they are supposed to be like, what is their purpose in general? Or is it part of the lore itself? Like, oh, the legendary is stuck in a quantum crystal, like the third legendary, and or maybe the other two legendaries are stuck in there, and the third legendary releases them, and then that causes some issues. Like, I'm trying to understand, where does it fit in within the actual gameplay and the world and the actual lore within the game, outside of like the real world lore of it. Like, Cayla, where would you like put this? Where would you like kind of match it in, would you say?
So what makes it really strange for me is that at the end of the trailer, we have that scene where it looks like we're inside a quantum time crystal, which is not something you can do in real life. So obviously, like, they're bending a lot of physics here.
They always do.
Yeah. So that, sorry if you guys like heard a noise outside, but anyway, that's what leads me to believe that we're going to be able to go inside them. But that seems a little bit strange. I don't know, because then it would have to be large enough that we're able to actually go inside, and we see that symbol on the box art, like the Japanese box art, and that doesn't strike me as something that would be giant. So I have trouble figuring out whether or not this is going to be something that we can actually, like a place that we can actually go to, or if it's going to be more like just part of the gimmick. I just don't feel like we have enough information yet.
So I was gonna say the same exact thing. Is like, the bottom line is we could come up with countless amounts of theories right now, because we just really don't have enough information on it. Like, is that final scene about the gimmick? Is it about the third legendary? Is it about the plot of the story? Is it just,
I have something to
I
say
don't
on
know,
that.
some random thing?
I have to say something on that. I think it does relate to like to like the gimmick of the game. And the reason I say that is because the reason I say that is one very specific reason is because the presence of that like crystal of sorts is all throughout, this whole thing. If it was just about like, a side feature, I don't think it would be so present within like the logo, because I do think the crystal we see, like the crystal, the sun logo, whatever you want to call it, that we see in the Japanese one, and the what do you even call it? Like the little crystal, the little blue crystal that we see in the Japanese logo. I think that's also related again to the quantum crystals. I am just thinking, like, again, for me, this all leads back to possibly this being some kind of force, something that is being created by a third legendary, whether it's really literally living within, like the way we look at, like, for example, the distortion world, right? A separate place, a separate, like, dimension of sorts. Is it possible that literally this thing is living in a quantum dimension of sorts, and that's where it's like located? And we're like, maybe the way I see it, okay, I'm going crazy here again, tinfoil hat on. Is it possible that the two legendaries, literally their purpose is to keep like people away from there, like almost like guards against people like getting this thing out, because it could cause some kind of, I mean, let's be honest, every time a Pokemon is locked away in some way or shape, it usually means it's going to cause havoc and destroy the world. Let's be honest. It's always the same thing.
Yeah.
Always. So would it be too far-fetched to assume the third legendary is locked away in some quantum like realm of sorts, locked away there, but it's like because of its level of strength and everything, it's seeping out, and that's causing these crystals to start existing? Like maybe rifts open up in the world where these crystals shoot out and they're affecting certain Pokemon over time, and those Pokemon maybe because of that can receive either, I don't know, something to do with the gimmick, which could be like, oh, the crystals that cause Pokemon to change their, form or change their typing or whatever. That's the way I'm looking at this. Like, again, I could be crazy, but what do you guys think? Like, am I going too haywire with this, or is this even like close to the like a realm of possibility, or am I totally haywire?
So if the crystals are going to come from somewhere else, which I think is probable, I think it's more likely to be ultra space than another dimension, because we've already got dimensions with Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, with them being different representations of like dimensions in string theory.
Yeah.
So I think it's more likely that it will come from ultra space, because those are different universes.
Yep.
And there can be anything out there. Like, Pokemon was very careful to make its lore big enough that they can pretty much do whatever they want within the context of the multiverse, without it like totally wreaking havoc on everything. So they could come from any universe pretty much. Like,
that's true.
We don't know. And because universes exist in different times, we could have like a past universe that they're coming from, a future universe that they're coming from. Like, there's all sorts of possibilities.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I believe that too.
See, that's the thing. I'm just trying to like understand like what, like how it all connects. Like, that's the problem.
Well, here's the question.
We know something, but there's like, it feels like there's dots that just aren't connecting.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have to be understandable for children as well, but like the background does not have to be. But so like it's like a mix of it, it has to be like, okay, at the face value, this is what's happening. Like a crystal's falling from somewhere and it's happening, changing something in the region. But and the background could be crazy. A question I have for Cayla actually is, so is there any way that those crystals could relate to refraction and the whole like sunlight going, like white light turning into rainbow colors? That's the thing. Like, can a quantum time crystal, a light crystal, as you said, maybe like do anything related to that? And I mean, maybe Pokemon logic can play a part here.
Yeah, I think that would be more of a Pokemon logic thing, because I mean, a lot of what they're doing already, or like what I predict that they're doing, doesn't relate to real science and is just using it as an inspiration. Which is definitely
common.
Yeah, so I could definitely see them playing with the idea of refraction, because I mean, in real life, regular crystals are like a big part of that. I wouldn't be surprised if they just pseudoscience their way through it. But in terms of quantum time crystals themselves, not really.
Okay. So I've heard a theory that like that whole scene is actually in the giant Pokeball, in like the main city. Like that whole quantum time space area is in that main like purple Pokeball.
Ooh, I love that idea.
Yeah. So like
I haven't heard
that's
that.
where
That sounds
is.
actually nuts.
That sounds
Yeah.
insane.
What?
And it makes a lot of sense too with the professors being right there.
Yeah, because that building is also presumed to be the school, because in the
Like,
second trailer it
main
shows
area.
our school is in the hub area where that crystal is.
The professors are definitely in that building because of the architecture behind them.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so there's that, but then there's also, I don't know how much credibility you want to give to Eclipse, but that whole thing that he talked about with the gimmick. Now this is saying like if that whole scene is related to the gimmick, that's a whole nother question. But you know, like the whole thing that he posted about, like they already know about the gimmick, and like the gimmick's been in the region for a long time. So I'm thinking those crystals specifically. So like maybe they get the crystals from inside the Pokeball, or maybe they get the crystals from somewhere around there, and they use those crystals to use the gimmick in the region. That's like my thought right now. And then so they're trying to fabricate the same thing somehow. That's what he was saying, at least. He I don't know if you can pull up the tweet, but it basically was
I remember
giving away a lot of stuff.
I don't know if I can find it though, because he's been tweeting a lot recently, but I know exactly what you're referring to. And now that you're saying it, I never even like knew that theory about that being inside the giant Pokeball. Because what? Like how? Sorry, but that just blew my mind for a second there. I didn't even consider that.
I mean, the theory itself,
So
I've never
cool.
really given much credit. I've never given much credit to it because I'm like, but why? Like, what adds up to it being in there for me? I don't know if you guys have more insight to it.
Maybe a
but-
prison of sorts. Maybe it's like they're like it's just a prison of sorts. Literally, that's the way I'm looking at it. Like,
It could either be a source of like resource generation, or they're trapping something in there.
Yeah, but we don't know what is.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you some stuff right quick. So what I've heard about the third legendary, a few things, is that it's very possible that it could be trapped inside of something and like causing havoc because of that. Like because of that, it's like working outside of it almost, but while
Like Eternatus
still being in prison.
Yeah,
Eternatus was locked in there, but I'm talking about it's still affecting outside. Like it has the power.
Yeah,
to
like it's that
outside.
Still.
But
I get it.
isn't that exactly the same thing then as Eternatus? Isn't that like serving the exact same purpose? Because it's kind of like that energy from Eternatus.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, so because that's what I've been assuming this whole time, is that it's like literally, I'm gonna just say it in the goofy way, it's shooting out little crystals all over the fucking world, and that's causing like certain Pokemon to just change. That's the way I'm looking at it.
That does feel very, very similar.
It also reminds me of Legends Arceus with what Volo did to the Frenzy, Dialga, and Palkia, because they were trapped in a space-time rift and they were shooting out the lightning bolts that were making the Pokemon go, like frenzied everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say what I've heard is like that it's actually trapped, but that it's just like very what's the right, like almost mischievous, or like playing games with like the whole region kind of thing, and there's a reason for it. Like probably it was like a good kind of Pokemon, and then it like is becoming like it did something bad because of somebody did something to it. And that's the best way I can put it. I think like that has something to do with maybe it being trapped.
I think I think that the theory of it being trapped in there is really cool, and I think that's definitely like, I hope that's a thing. I think that if they're having it work like quantum time crystals do in real life, I don't think the legendary is impacting things outside, because it would be almost like frozen in time, but without being actually physically like frozen or like stuck. But I could definitely see the professors who are researching it, potentially letting it out or trying to figure out some way to like replicate whatever it is, or the Pokeball might be a cover for something that came from space. Like, there's a lot of possibilities.
Wait, I just thought of something about that. Like, would it make sense then possibly that yes, it is locked away in there in a quantum crystal of sorts, stuck in there, it's stuck in that space. Maybe a prison. It could also would it be possible maybe they literally put itself in a prison as a way to like not cause anything, like harm to the world, like almost like literally like
protecting itself.
protecting the world
I
from
wouldn't
itself.
see that
like protecting the world
from
itself.
what I've heard. I don't think that that's the way that it would go. I think that it's actually like a malicious Pokemon. I think that it's like actually.
If it is malicious, then is it then possible that before it was, because somebody must have put it inside of the crystal, right? It's like, somebody must have caused it.
My
to
idea
there, right?
Yeah,
my idea doesn't have to be someone from our universe, though.
True, that's true. Like that is true.
True, very true.
A la Ultra Squad, right? Like it could be like somebody from a totally different realm that we have no perception of or know anything about. But I'm thinking like if whoever put it in there, like before they put it there, is it like I'm thinking it in the sense of maybe before they managed to put it there, because I'm assuming it must have fought back, wouldn't have just been casually accepting to be put into a eternal prison. Is it possible that before it got put in there, in that time, it was able to kind of, a lot of its energy maybe seeped into the region, right? Like it seeped into the world, so to say. So it's like within like the region itself, there is a limited quantity of that kind of resource that this legendary produces possible within its body, or that's just part of its like, literal essence that's now been kind of spread out throughout the region. And as we're like, and the problem is with the region now is the same issue that we had with the previous one is like, what was it like Rose's whole goal again? Infinite energy or whatever? Like that was kind of his whole weird thing.
It was energy to last them the next 1,000 years, which the more I think about it, that still makes no sense to me.
It is random, but I get it's like,
it's very weird.
I have a weird like thing about that where it's like, it feels like it's some sort of alludement towards like global warming of some sorts. Like just, I don't know. Like that's what I think it alludes to. But the way I look at this one is its energies or its crystals seeped into the world before it was locked away, right? I feel like we can almost assume that it definitely has been locked away of sorts. Now, where it's locked away, I don't know, but in some kind of like dimension where it can't do anything, it's been locked away. And what it did before it got locked away was a lot of its energy, a lot of its maybe crystals within its body or whatever, spread into the world, and the humans of the Scarlet and Violet region, the Titan region, whatever you want to call it, were using these up until now to alter their Pokemon in some way or shape, whether that be to add an extra typing to them, or change their forms, or the Pokemon turning into an old form of itself or a future form of itself. It doesn't matter. Either way, like in some way or shape, people have been using these crystals, but the professors are specifically looking for a way to recreate that, right? They're trying to recreate it, and what they end up finding is that, it's coming from this thing. We know it's from this and this location, and they're the reason that everything goes like haywire and goes to shit, because they decide to get it out of the out of its prison, essentially, causing the whole fucking world to start like trembling essentially once it like gets out of there. And then maybe that leads maybe perfectly into the introduction of whoever actually locked it away the first time, right? Like it could just be a perfect way for them to introduce that, the same way they introduced like even in Oras, like what's it, like Zinnia or whatever, like her whole like like thingy. They could introduce like characters, something like that. Somebody. It doesn't have to be somebody from like that's in some crazy way like from like the Ultra Squad. It can be something totally different, like a very regular person. Could even be Nimona, who just reveals like the same way Volo reveals, I'm the bad guy. Nimona could like just end up being like, I am your savior, and just pops out with like some crazy gizmos and stuff, and it turns out that she's not from here. She's from like an alternate dimension. Woohoo! Like. Anything is possible.
She's definitely sketchy.
Yeah, but I feel like...
I don't think she's the bad guy, though.
I don't know. I think she's a good guy.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. I was using the Volo like reference in terms of like just like the the hiding identity ID. You know what I mean? Like the fact that like she'd be hiding who she really is. I'm not saying she would be a bad guy, but like she's just hiding who she is in general. Like she's just not telling us like, to us she's like our little mini rival, companion type person. But in reality, secretly she's like here monitoring. Maybe that's her whole thing. Maybe she's just monitoring. She's somebody here to monitor, to make sure nobody releases the legendary. Maybe that's her whole purpose.
Maybe it's a thing like whoever the big bad guy is, like if it isn't the professors, like let's like if it isn't the professors, maybe the big bad came to the school, noticed Nimona's skill, and gave her the arm thing that she wears, and she's like, I want you to monitor the professors and their research, so one day he can come and steal it for his bad thing, his like whatever he's doing. And Nimona believes that maybe she's misguided, where she believes that she's doing the right thing, or she's secretly like a spy that she doesn't even know about it. Like she's just in a giant game of like 4D chess.
I don't think they would go that deep though. But like, I'm kind of curious though.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
Cayla, what do you think about the idea of like it being a locked away legendary, seeping out its energy, and then humans using it, the professor trying to get it out of that locked away prison, whether it be a quantum time crystal that's locked away within, which is where it literally can't do anything because it's like locked within, literally stuck in time. It's not moving forward or backwards or anywhere, or it's moving forward and backward at the same time. It's basically Schrodinger's cat, and it is and it isn't. What do you think about like all of it?
I like the locked away legendary theory. I think that instead of it like shedding these crystals in some way, I think it makes more sense for them to come from wherever it came from. You know, like those are just smaller fragments that have fallen through the same way it has.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
Like I think that's a lot more likely, and maybe the professors are trying to figure out what to do because less of them are falling through because it's been a long time, and maybe they need them as some sort of something. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
I don't think Nimona is gonna be as scheming in that kind of a way. Like, I mean, she lives across the street from us. Like, I don't view her as like super mysterious. I think she's gonna be really clever because she's based on Odysseus, and he solved a lot of his problems by being smart. So I can see her being the type of person who is going to be a very good ally for us and will help us solve our problems by maybe stalling for time or, battling people because she's good at that, having some sort of ally role as opposed to being like against us or, conniving in that kind of a way. Like she might be conniving, just not in a way that's adversarial.
No, yeah, but I'm not assuming for her to be in any sort of way evil or anything. I'm just kind of hoping she has like a deeper like meaning than just like being our rival. Like I don't know, I just like the idea of like how Volo was like, just this dude who was just kind of there, and then it turns out like at the end like, oh, I'm the big baddie. Oh, look at me. I'm going to use Giratina to destroy you all, fools. Like I don't know.
Called that when we met him.
Like I don't know, it's like I just like the whole idea of like him being basically the villain, but like them like kind of keeping it hidden or whatever. Because at the beginning, I really thought because I was like, oh, this dude is just Cynthia. He's got to be the good guy, right? But like he just like it looks like an ancestor of Cynthia. He's got to be the good guy. Turns out that wasn't the case. The guy's an evil prick. So I don't know. It's just like I feel like like them pulling the rug under us, but actually surprising us is kind of fun. And even like having characters that maybe throughout the whole game, they're just regular. They're helping us out. They're doing battling. But then at the end, they can just be like, pull off the mask and like, haha, but actually, I'm a secret agent from an alternate timeline. And it's like,
yeah, I think we're more likely to get that kind of a reveal with the professors than with Nimona, though.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. But I don't know about the professors. Like something about them is just off. Like clearly, they feel very villainy. Like they feel very evil. Like even the way they look, they just look a bit too like if you look at every other professor, they're kind of just old people that are kind of sad, and well, if they're not like old people, they're usually like smiling and whatnot, like in a very jolly way. I mean, I don't know, like if you think of what's his name, like Professor Kukui or whatever, like he's just all happy and dandy, like, hey, look at me with my abs, and like all of them, like usually they have like just this
they're much more warmer. They're warmer.
They have a warmer feeling. These two feel like very rough. Like something about them, like one looks like a goddamn like the Chad meme. One of them looks literally the Chad meme. The other one is a cave woman. Like they don't look like the regular professors. A regular professor, like poor little Professor Oak and little Professor Elm and whatnot. Like hey guys, oh no, we gotta take care of the Pokemons and learn all about them. These two look like they mean some kind of messed up business. Like they seem too serious for whatever reason. Also, quickly just gotta point out, Wolf, thank you for the $5, says, what if Ho-Oh stopped the third legendary with the power of the rainbow, which is why we have Gen 2 hints. I don't think that's likely. I don't feel like they do that too often, do they? Right? Like using old legendaries to explain current legendary thingies happening. I don't think they really do that a lot. That's more something that happens within the anime, I would argue. That's something that anime does way more, where they will use old legendaries to explain, stuff in current game. Like, for example, having, like, I don't know, Lugia, again, in a more recent, like, in recent movies or episodes in the anime, and whatever connection it has to stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like they ever really use old legendaries to explain current new gen stuff. Don't think that really ever connects. And McCall, thank you for the $10, man. I wonder how her being bad at catching Pokemon will come into play. Maybe she's pushed to catch the legendary and fails, and it falls on us. And I just think it must be deliberate. Wait, is it stated that she's bad at catching Pokemon?
Yeah, on the website.
Yeah. Huh. I think that'll be more.
I think it has something to do with her arm.
Yeah, I think the arm thing is to help her catch, but I feel like that might be more of a comedic gag than an actual like story thing.
There's something about her though. I don't know if she's bad, but there's something else going on.
Evil, but like she something is not 100. Like something ain't 100 with her. Okay, like something is off. Like I don't know what it is. I mean, clearly the professors have something off about them. It's pretty on the nose, but like that's the thing. Hers doesn't feel as on the nose. It doesn't feel as obvious that something is like something does feel wrong, but it's not as clear what it is, right? She doesn't feel evil, so I don't think she's gonna be evil in any way. But I do think that there is something behind her, like her character, or like something is there. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm just spitballing. It's all theory and theories. And
I don't think you're wrong on that one. That one's that one seems very likely.
It's all for fun, right? Like you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Cayla knows about the whole omen thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I know about the omen thing. I just don't think it's right.
But I don't know.
All right.
Because her name has so much meaning spelled forward that I feel like spelling it backwards is just like, oh, like yeah. I mean, technically, you could take Nemo from Finding Nemo and spell it backwards, and it's omen. Like that doesn't mean that it's, you know what I mean? The name Nemo itself has like so much meaning.
Yeah, that's what the person that sent that to me originally was like. I don't know because there's already some meaning in the first name, so it could be both. I don't know. Go for it.
I just said we even theory crafting. I completely disregarded like all the cool stuff that's been going on for the past few days.
Oh yeah, we totally skipped.
I've been thinking about it. I'm like, let's go.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that as the final part of the podcast, I guess. So Cayla, have you kept up anything with the like Riddler Coup posts recently that has been putting out, or have you?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've looked at it mostly.
All right, so Soul Silver, do you want to kind of go over like the most important things that we have to like that we can talk about? I guess. Like, do you want to go over that because you have you've been covering it. Like, I mean, I've been covering it as well, but I feel like
you've been going.
True, but the thing with me is I haven't been able to go as in depth as you have on your tweets. So you can just start with one thing and then I can just kind of go into the rest. But kind of kick things off.
I mean, yeah, it's like impossible to start somewhere because there was literally so much. I don't know what happened to him.
We can go by the date. I have everything dated on like an app that I use for my video that I made. Check it out. But yeah, I have everything dated. I even have his tab open.
I don't know because I haven't like let me see. If you can send the tweets over so we can like look at them one by one, I guess. But like the way I'm looking at this, so he started tweeting. What was the first thing he started coming out with? Because
the first thing he started coming out with was Smoliv's evolution hint.
Yes. So what do we even think about that? Like, what is the conclusion of that? Because I know like one of the running theories right now is that first of all, he did say that Smoliv is going to be kind of the waifu Pokemon in the waifu league, with Waifumon League or whatever, basically implying, I'm guessing, I could be wrong here, that it's going to have more of a humanoid or more like feminine design. I'm guessing it's kind of like the way he's trying to describe it. I could be misunderstanding him here because again, his definition of what waifu really like connects to can be different, from what somebody else thinks of it. So he's saying it's in that league, so he's not saying that it's straight up like a, like Gardevoir looking Pokemon or like a Lopunny thing, but something within that realm of
gonna be more like Sarina. I think it's gonna be like a Sarina type situation.
I think lesser than. I think more like a Lilligant-esque type thing. That's more what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like that.
I agree. Like, I don't think it's gonna be too much, like too over the top.
No, just
because of what he said, like saying waifu league.
Kind of a female-looking Pokemon. I'm guessing that, like, kind of in that
yeah,
kind of like that more feminine aspects to it, but not per se being like over the top, like AKA Gardevoir, Lopunny, etc. Like going all the way that way, right? That's what I'm guessing from that.
Yeah.
So that was like the first thing that he had here. But interestingly, the image he posted was the one where he like featured the 5 olives that were colored darker, right? which does make sense, as olives, when they're not ripe yet, they usually are green, and once they're fully, once they've reached their what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, my English is awful. Once they have what are you saying?
Maturity.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the right
once
word.
They're ripe.
Yeah, once they're ripe. Yeah, I guess so. Right. Sorry, my brain's there's another word here, but I can't think of it. Once they're fully ripe, they will be much darker in color. So I kind of speculated that is this going to be like a kind of an inverse of Executor and Execute and whatnot, an inverse of it, where instead of it going from being multiple little eggs and then becoming one tree, is going to go backwards, where this olive is going to become multiple olives or something, something along those lines. It's kind of what I was thinking, because the small olive we see is more is in color more alike a unripe olive, which could also, you can look at it in the sense of it's one that would be used maybe as a seed, right? A seedling, which then would be able to, create multiple more of them. Again, I could be crazy on that, but I know there's also this whole idea about it being possibly a fighting type, an added fighting typing on it, because of the fact that I don't know what it's called again, but the shape he shows there, the actual shape of the olives, all that kind of related in some way or shape. I could be crazy again, to Hercules, if I remember correctly. Again, I'm spitballing off the top of my head what I remember, but Soul, can you just clarify?
Yeah, no, I think it's it's a crown that was worn in old Greek Olympic games, and also by Caesars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the one that's the part I forgot. I knew there was something I forgot about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly it. So,
but I don't know. I mean, maybe it might be fighting, but I feel like we're getting too many, everything's fighting. I've heard fighting for almost every type.
Yeah, it's too
or
much.
every Pokemon that we know of.
Even yeah, go on, Cal.
Based on what it says on the website, it's probably going to be grass fire, and which would be our first grass fire ever, because it says that the oil inside it is really bitter, and olive oil is very flammable.
Everybody's been saying that. Everybody's been saying that, but I'm just wondering, how does that connect to his? Oh, wait a minute. If like you said, if it's something that crown that Olympians wear, I'm thinking the Olympic flame almost. Thinking that's what I'm thinking.
That is the theory.
Really, that could literally fit its whole theme. If it's an Olympic athlete and it holds an actual torch from its oil.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh, it can even be within its body, the shape of its body that maybe its head is literally got the shape of a torch of sorts, and then the fire comes out of it. I could see that happening, which actually would be so cool.
It could be really cool. Yeah, it could be cool. The only thing, Ruff, what I was going to say with yours is, which I think you covered my tweet, but to me, personally, the way I see it is, its lower body is a body, and the olive part of it is on the top. So I think that it's going to evolve, its body's going to become something humanoid, and the olive part of it is still going to stay on the top of it, or on its lid and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I get what you mean.
Because it's supposed to be waifu, so if it wasn't, I was oh yeah, it's a comfey, it's gonna be just the actual crown with a whole bunch of olives on it and multiple faces or something.
Gotcha.
I don't know. That's just how I see it, how I feel it's coming out.
I gotcha.
And I grass fairy or grass fire feels right.
Sid Hero, by the way, donated $2 and said, "Oh, also tell Cayla and Cinnamon I said hi." There we go.
Yay!
Sid Hero said hello. Sid, by the way, also thank you for the donations. Thank you for the support, man. Appreciate it, dude. And Albania says, "Who needs new watermarks?" I guess, yeah. I mean, it's always a central thing.
I think he likes his watermarks.
Yeah, he likes doing it the way he likes to do it. Yep. You can't stop the man. You can't stop the mandem. He wants to do what he wants to do. Kiazin with the $5. Thank you so much, mate. Maybe Cyrus makes a return because didn't he go through a wormhole? Yes, but you know what I think is more likely to make a return, possibly in a DLC? And this is Giovanni, exactly. Do you guys remember the end of the Rainbow Rocket episode of Ultra Sun and Moon? Because he just stepped away into a portal and was never seen again. He it just happened, and ever since then is we haven't heard of him, we haven't seen anything about him. And I speculated way back then, in the future, there's going to be something with, like, portals, and this guy is going to return again. Because he's discovered some way to travel through dimensions, you know, outside of, like, you know, having to use the whole, like, you know, legendaries to travel through ultra wormholes. This man has developed some way to actually travel through dimensions and possibly even timelines. So would it be
technically
that is Giovanni from a world where he won, right?
Yeah, technically he's technically traveling to other universes where they've won. Yeah, not other dimensions though, because dimensions are where Giratina is and stuff like that.
Yeah, true. Sorry, I sometimes try to put all these things into the correct categories becomes hard.
Yeah, no worries. I just see it like so many times when people are all over the place. I'm like, okay, guys, let's use the terminology so that we're not confused.
So basically, he's like, let me get this straight. He's traveling from a separate universe, quite literally. So
Giovanni
like,
is.
So a la like Rick and Morty, different universes that each character is from, something like that along those lines. Kind of like a dumb version of, like, a dumbed down version of explaining basically what's going on.
Yes.
Okay, so then would it be that strange to assume that maybe he will pop in here? Because I feel like he's more likely than somebody like Cyrus to show up. Because Cyrus is just stuck in another dimension, right? He's stuck in a literal other dimension.
Right. Yeah, there's no way Cyrus is getting out of there. He would have to get into the universe, like his own universe first, and then get to another universe. Like, there's never been a situation where people have traveled through dimensions to other universes. Like, dimensions are, like, within their own universes, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, then I guess Cyrus, no, he wouldn't be possible. However, I think Giovanni showing up again, I don't think in the base games, possibly in DLC, I could see him showing up again and causing some kind of problems, because there was that Easter egg reference. I don't know if you guys know this, but as somebody who covers way too many Easter eggs, like, as part of my job, there is this Easter egg in Sword and Shield of a guy who looks identical to Giovanni, by the way, standing in, I cannot remember the exact city here from Sword and Shield, because Galar, the names of the cities kind of fall flat in my brain, but it's the kind of the area where you take on the I could be wrong here, where like there's a version difference, like it's the two siblings, I think. What are they called again?
The mother and son.
I'm saying mother siblings, but the mother and son. Yeah. What's that city called again? Help me out here. I'm trying to recall this, but I cannot remember. Chichester? I think that might be it. But basically in the
Chichester, that's what it is.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So there's like this pool area, and there's a guy standing there, looks exactly like Giovanni, and he's looking at a picture. He's admiring a picture or a drawing of a Persian, which is a little too on the nose because the guy looks just like him, okay? Way too like him. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure you can all agree that Game Freak loves to put in references to future things that will happen in their, like, current games. So, like, something that's going to happen down the line, they put it inside of a previous game. Same way that they put in, like, the Gigantamax, artwork or poster of Toxtricity, the G-Max form.
In Ultra Sun and Moon at the Game Freak office. Yeah, I remember that.
Not just that. The map of Galar, an upside-down version of it, was in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and I think also in Ultra Sun and Moon, right? So they do like to leave, like, references and stuff. Sometimes larger, sometimes smaller. Sometimes we don't even know them. There could be some in these games that we've never discovered or never realized, right? But would you guys all agree that they do tend to do that? Or am I crazy?
A lot. Trust me.
No, they do.
So then...
Also, I got all the leaks ready. All of Koo's stuff, I just got everything set up.
All right, cool. So...
I got one Koo one for you right now.
Oh, okay.
Did you see his response to me? He said that he's part of Team Rocket, actually. So I don't think that might... He knows that I cover all his stuff. Like, he throws little hints out here and there, and you're talking about Giovanni coming back.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That is odd. Why would he say that? Because everything he says, because he always prefaces it, if it's not related to, like, leaks and rumors and stuff, he always usually, like, sorry, leaks, but riddles, he always prefaces it as, no, this is not related to that, right? He always, like, kind of makes it clear to us.
He's extremely blunt. Like, if you were to say something, he'll just reply, no, or I can't say, or something like that.
Exactly. Like, he's very, very clear, like, I mean, clear as clear as you can get with riddles, but if it doesn't have anything to do with, his riddles, he usually will just make it clear, right? So him mentioning that, would it be too too far-fetched to assume that Giovanni could make a return?
I mean, we were joking. We were kind of joking around a little bit, but he just said it. He's like, I work for Team Rocket, or I am Team Rocket. And it's like, why are you mentioning Team Rocket right now? So, I don't know.
I don't know. Cayla, what do you think?
That whole...
I mean, it's definitely possible. The Giovanni here, if Sword and Shield is where I think it might be in the timeline, but we don't have enough evidence for it yet, this could be him after he's retired from Team Rocket.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think the Giovanni in Sword and Shield is from another universe. I think this is probably just him retired being like, I'm going to go see the world and try to become a better person, hopefully.
Oh, that's true. But the thing is, I would also argue that like he is a character that easily could pop him back into the villainy. Because do you remember the Celebi event from Heart Gold Soul Silver?
Yeah.
So in that case, he was about to go back in to do his villain because he had left Team Rocket, right, at the end of the what do you call it, the Kanto saga, if you want to put it that way. He had actually left them, but they kept like requesting him to come back within Johto. But that's the thing, we literally see in Heart Gold Soul Silver as Ethan or Lyra basically foil his plans, and after he loses again to them, he's like, oh shit, I lost to another kid very similar to you in the past. Well, whoop-de-doo, I guess I'm not going to go back to Team Rocket. They'll just have to handle themselves. Would it be too hard to assume that maybe they'll just do it again? I mean, Team Rocket is the most popular, like, villain team within Pokemon. And, like, they have done it in, like, Pokemon. They have included it in Pokemon Go nonstop with, like, the Team Rocket, like, grunts showing up all the time, and even, like, the admin
Giovanni
stuff.
especially.
Yeah, that too. So is it that far-fetched to assume that they might make an appearance again?
I think it's definitely possible that he'll appear again. I just think it'll probably be a multiversal Giovanni as opposed to unless we see retired Giovanni again.
But
like, he's just chilling somewhere.
Well, that's the thing. I don't feel like the one we saw in Sword and Shield doesn't have to be a way of, like the exact one we'll be seeing in, Scarlet Violet, but more just like a reference towards it. Like instead of like them like putting like
it's a tease.
Exactly, it's a tease.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's the way I'm looking at it more. So I wouldn't see it as being too far-fetched that Giovanni might make an appearance. Kazuki, thing with the 5 says in the anime with the alternate Team Rocket in the timeline. What? I'm a bit confused. Am I missing something here? Is there an alternate timeline Team Rocket in the anime? Or am I crazy?
No clue.
No idea.
That's a Cam question, I think.
I have no idea. Cam, do you know?
I believe they may be talking about the one special in Journeys where they go to an alternate universe and the Diamond and Pearl special, but I could be completely wrong.
Oh yeah, that
never
happened, but
in that world they were like superheroes and not the villains. It was really weird.
Oh. That's strange. Huh, I don't know, but I don't think that's the thing. The anime, like, you shouldn't look at the anime's like lore and decisions as impacting
definitely not
of the games. It never those two, the way you have to like separate them is like this. If you look at the actual like history, world lore within the games and how everything functions versus the anime and the manga, etc., and the TCG, they're all separate, but they use a little bit of aspects of each other, and they all like match together in terms of release schedules, right? Like, so for example, the anime has to match up perfectly to when the next generation is about to start. So it needs to end and start a new series, a new season, whatever, as the new region comes out, the new games, the mainline games and all that. So they don't have that like direct connection in terms of the stories and any of that. Like, yes, there's an overlap because at the end of the day, they're based on the same thing. However, the anime does stuff. They can do stuff as much as they want to because it doesn't technically affect anything else, right? Like if Ash does something crazy with a legendary, that doesn't matter because it doesn't impact anything in the grand scale of things.
The anime can literally start handing people out legendaries because they can. They did that in Sun and Moon, where they gave Mallow a shaman for no reason. The shaman did nothing until the very last episode when it left her. Like,
my god, that's depressing.
Yeah, it left her, and like she got it in one episode, and then it did nothing. It was just there, and then the very last episode, it just flew away with the rest of the shaman herd or whatever. Like, they love to do that. They'll just, especially now in Journeys, because Go has a Suicune. Like, Go caught a Suicune in one episode, and the Suicune is just there now. So the anime doesn't impact anything like at all.
Yeah.
He also
right.
called Eternatus. So,
jeez. Okay, so let's move on, I guess, to the next thing because we don't want to like drag on too much on a single topic. So, what's the next like riddle? I guess we have that we haven't already. Okay, we already talked Smoliv. We already talked about Team Rocket. What else is there? Like has like I think it's the Tapu Koko Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3 one that we haven't covered yet, right?
yeah, I have everything categorized in terms of when he did it, and like even the replies are like their own separate section because remember the replies are also very crazy.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the replies are nuts.
So let's maybe I want to add this one really quickly because I don't feel like that like this is one that I was gonna mention earlier, but I forgot it as I was listening to you guys talk, which was he did basically confirm that some version of megas, or not specifically megas, but something similar to like mega, like a la mega type thing, is gonna be in these games. Like he basically confirmed it, yes and no, kind of. Soul, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what
Yeah,
you're
of course.
talking about.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, definitely.
So he like I don't know like so Cayla, do you know about this? Like him kind of confirming that like maybe not megas per se, but something similar or something connected to it is going to be in these games. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he said that he wasn't going to comment on it yet, but it made it sound like some version of them or something similar to them might be included. So I don't know if they're going to use like quantum time crystals as a way to bring in other mechanics, or exactly how that will work. Like I know there are dex entries for Pokemon that reference like, oh, this is similar to how it was in the past, or like, that kind of thing. So it's possible, but honestly, like I feel like we don't have a lot of information about it yet.
Yeah, and the way he worded it was a new concept of it.
Right.
Specifically megas.
Like it's
like a reimagining of it.
So it's like if we imagine megas as to what they are, they're an evolution of a Pokemon that's almost forced upon it, so to say. And like, so how could we like conceptually look at it in a different way? Like how can
maybe Game Freak is trying to make it. Maybe they're trying to make it more balanced. Maybe they might just do megas the way they did Dynamax and have it last a specific set of terms.
Also, maybe they can also make it more, in terms of the lore, more justifiable to use. Because I think there was this whole thing about megas that they're almost like harming the Pokemon.
Torture. They said
kind of that they're harming the Pokemon, and that they kind of decide like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this because we're kind of promoting the idea of like harming like animals of sorts, because Pokemon are basically animals. So like I just remember there was this whole thing about that. So I'm just thinking to myself, is it possible maybe that now we're gonna get a more humane version of megas, so to say, like something that's a bit simpler.
Not to mention that like Mega Stones were made using the life energy of Pokemon.
Yeah, so, let's forget
the
little essence of other Pokemon was used to create them. So yeah, I think that maybe we're getting a more humane version. Okay, something that doesn't require the literal souls of a bunch of Caterpies. So I don't know. That's
the thing that's interesting is like the whole. Which is actually Cam's original theory from a long time back that people keep bringing up right now, is like the whole moon dial being in the Scarlet Violet region. Like maybe there's a moon dial somewhere that has this whole different version of new megas or whatever. Like it creates it or something.
Yeah, it like a way to do mega evolution that doesn't require, like, think of it like artificial megas. In a sense of that, they can like mass produce megastones without Pokemon being harmed or hurt, and maybe like you said, Ruffle, a more humane way of using it, where the Pokemon isn't in pain and it can actually take on this form without feeling any form of suffering. Basically, they're going to try to reboot the lore so it can be less dark, I guess.
Yeah, because
my thought
whole,
behind
like, killing a bunch of Pokemon for the sake of creating megas thing, can kind of just jump over that hoop, Oh, jeez.
Yeah. My thought behind it really is I think they want to be able to use those designs again without bringing megas back in, like the actual mechanic of megas. But they still want to use the designs because those designs just get thrown away. Like we haven't seen them in forever, like Mega Rayquaza and all of them. When in the world are we ever going to see them again?
Oh,
so even my other.
Wait a minute.
Go for it.
If like megas are kind of unlocking a specific potential within a Pokemon, right? That's what they are. is it possible that this is just unlocking another kind of hidden potential in a Pokemon in a same way, minus the whole, like, you know, the other craziness around it, right? So is it possible maybe that instead of using a Mega Stone, we could be able to even, like, Mega Evolve certain, like, old Pokemon using the same method we're going to be using to, you know, change other Pokemon around? It's just that those Pokemon that, like, you know, like, basically, like, we'd have two ends of it, right? One end would have Pokemon turning into the whatever the new gimmick form is, or whatever that might be. And the other side is like, oh, they can literally turn into actual Mega Evolutions using this method instead, because it's a more humane version of Mega Evolving. And maybe, like, I don't know, because then they can reuse the actual, you know, like, Mega assets and everything, and they can reuse that, like, all that stuff.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, not even just Megas, like, Gigantamax things, too. Like, I don't think that they'll get big or anything, but just, like, exactly using their same designs so that they can reuse the designs. And people will love it. You know, people want those back.
Eris, the playful, Nephalem. Jeez. Sorry, man. I'm trying to, like, read the name. My brain was like, I cannot read. Yo, Eris, thank you so much for the 5 Canadian. I appreciate it. Says Nintendo of America has tweeted something about Sprigatito. What did they tweet?
Yeah, I tweeted about it. Dark type confirmed.
Wait, what did they say? What did they say, though? What did they say?
Like, hold on.
Sprigatito loves all the attention it can get and deserves. So as its trainer, be careful letting it see you give attention to other Pokemon.
Ooh.
That's definitely a dark type.
Yeah. That's it's a bit dark. It's a bit
sketchy.
It's
basically a cat, but you know, that's what cats do. But at the same time, it's like a vengeful little thing.
Yeah. Oh, dark typing also makes sense, right? Like a black cat. Kind of like, you know, like just also an omen. You know?
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know. I'm just saying. But like it is odd connection there, isn't it? But I think we already know the typings. Everybody like kind of do we all agree on this? That we know the typings? Sprigatito, Grass Dark, Fuecoco, Fire Ghost, and Quaxley Water Fighting, right? Wait, like,
we're something I wanted to point out about that is that Ku, when they asked Ku who was his favorite out of the 3, like their evolutions, he said that he liked Quaxley's the best, but that Sprigatito's is the most broken.
Yeah, because its ability is going to be insane. Like, what they have about it on the website, what it's alluding to, I don't know, it could be game breaking. I'm like really excited about it. Did you guys see how it works? Because it can almost like incapacitate its enemies.
That would be actually
so
pretty
like,
it gives me the vibe. It gives me the vibe of like it can inflict a random status effect or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, because somebody posted on tweeted that they were like, "Oh, Grass Dark, that's not a very good typing." I'm like, it doesn't matter what weaknesses you have if nobody can hit you.
That's
you know?
True.
Yeah.
Like it's exciting. I'm still picking Quaxley though, which is why I'm so sad that people voted. People voted for Fuecoco in the poll. I was so sad about that. Like,
I think Fuecoco is the best. Fuecoco is the best one to vote. I'm sure. I think because I asked like my followers which one do you think is the best, and out of the responses I read, I think I agree with them that we basically know what's going on with Quaxley and Sprigatito, but with Fuecoco we really. I mean, I have a good idea of what I think it'll be, but there's so many different inspirations for it that it could go many different ways.
We'll find out on the... Okay. What did he say, the 30th?
The 30th, yeah.
Quick question. Are we going to, are we going to dive into the other riddles that he put out? Because I want to hear what your thoughts are on, I guess, the 3-stage riddle, right? Like the one that, like the big one. So, Cayla, like, what do you know about that one? And I'm referring to the one where he was has the Tapu Koko, the Slowbro, I think, Slowpoke, and what was the last image? It was like a Z crystal. Yeah, it was the Z crystal. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that one in particular?
I agree with the like head tails coin idea. But unfortunately, I have to go because I have a meeting. So.
It's all right.
Yeah.
No worries.
It's totally fine. It's understandable. Guys, as she's leaving, you guys can check out her channel. We'll be linking it in the comment section and all that. Kayla, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for coming, through.
Yeah.
Joining in.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This is really fun.
That was great to have you on. Have a good one.
We'll talk again.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Peace out.
Alrighty. Well, so I guess
I think Dusty's hopping on, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said he said it was coming home.
All right. Well, we're also going to be capping it off soon, anyways, because we keep saying like we shouldn't like go on for too long, and here we are like already 2 hours in. Like every single time we say like we should keep it short, and then it ends up being like way too long. But it's like there's so much to say, right? So it's like kind of impossible to not go on for a long time. But okay, so back to the subject. So Soul, like, can you explain that whole thing? Because I kind of already assumed it was going to be some kind of treasure chest before he tweeted out like the Z Crystal and the Slowpoke. I assumed it based on what Eclipse said. Because of his picture and everything, and it just made sense because I remember watching the first trailer with all the treasure chests, and my whole theory is I personally think it's going to be a treasure chest, right? Like, or maybe it's going to start as a coin that then evolves into like, you know, a treasure chest, like something in similar in my brain to like a sandy gas literally becoming a massive sandcastle, you know?
Yeah, I think it's going to be that too, to be honest.
So, can you like give more context, whatever you got like to say about it?
I mean, like, when people were reading that, I was sleeping when it was already solved, so that was fun. But when I can't imagine like people reading that story, which is actually hilarious. What he wrote, I don't know if you just like read it and think about what he wrote. It's just like
I get so confused.
Oh, dude, I had no idea what I was looking at. I had no clue. I was.
I don't know. I loved it. It just made me laugh. I was just like, what in the world? His puppy's losing the V card and like a stupid dog and all this stuff. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Dude, I was completely lost. The more he knew, like the more he talked about it, I was just like, what is going on?
Yeah. So that's the original like thought. Like, I don't even know how we were gonna solve it. But it's funny that Cayla was on this podcast because she was talking about like this huge like Brothers Grimm story, and I'm like, it's not something like that big. I think it's just a riddle, like just like a common riddle. Like that's what he suggested. But I didn't know what riddle it could have been. You know, it could have been a million of them, and I still didn't even get it after it was solved. I was like, is this really what it is? Because I always like want to double check before I just go with something. So just to break it down, basically, the Tapu Koko is the head, Slowpoke is the tail, and the Tapu Koko Z whatever is shaped like a coin. Like the little emblem in the middle is shaped like a coin, but also it's not anything. It's just a random crystal thing. So it's not a body. So we has a head, a tail, and no body, and it's a coin.
So should we have read more into the pictures than the actual tweet? Because I was overanalyzing the super confusing story he had going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I mean, feel like we put too much thought into that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you can go on.
It really depends. It's like, yeah. It's like, you know, you never know. I was looking for the one word that he was talking about, but then he tweeted something else that was like the word isn't actually in his tweets, but he's just like kind of alluding to it. The way that he talks is really hard to understand, and I think it's on purpose. But yeah, so the pictures meant way more than the actual text did. The text was literally just story stuff, and he did say that. He was like, this is just background to lead up to this simple riddle.
Okay.
The more I think about it, was it like a story of luck or something? The dog came back and it felt unlucky, but it actually had a new Pokemon that nobody knew about.
I think the story itself was more like his dog went to go find some things, and he found heads and he found tails, and then he brought whatever he ended up bringing back was nothing. Basically, he brought nothing back because he went to the Scarlet and Violet region, and so you just get the heads and tails. Because once you get heads and tails, you're like, oh, a coin. You don't even have to hear the last part.
Yeah,
you know. Which
fair points.
Somebody probably put it together before that last one, even. I'm like 99.999% sure that's what it is too. Like it makes too much sense to be anything else. And then there's the whole eclipse thing, which saying people are sleeping on Eclipse a little bit right now.
Oh no, dude, I am
he
keeping
knows
attention to him,
something.
dude. I'm keeping attention to him because he clearly knows something. Very clearly knows something because I saw his thing.
That was way before.
Way before. That's what I'm saying. I saw that way before any of the stuff from Ku made any sense to me. He's seeing his stuff, and I was like, oh, this makes 100,000% sense. There is literally like chests and stuff within, like a treasure chest with like coins and stuff in the goddamn trailer of the first one. There is like too many things here that are like just such a like blatant, obvious connection. Of course they connected then. Like, I mean, it just made so much sense. I mean, I could be crazy. I could be like, call me crazy if you want to. But I genuinely think that, he knows something. And not something. I think he knows a lot.
Yeah. That's the thing with him, though. It's like, it's hard to tell because sometimes his information comes back not good. But then sometimes it does. So you just always have to, like, kind of be like, oh, maybe this is true. Maybe this is true. And I tend to believe him more than not because I think that he believes it himself.
Yeah. I think he's like his riddles are way more descriptive and more expressive more now than ever because I think this time around he's like 1,000,000,000% confident that these are real because he's even said that he's seen a lot of these designs and that's why he's telling us like about especially in regards to like the whole Waifumon and Husbandomon and which starter evolution is his favorite. Even before this, when we got the legendaries, he was like, I like Miraidon more than Koraidon. So I think that he's like seen everything. He probably has it all like on file where he can just go back and he's like, what should I ask? What should I put in a poll this time and stuff like that. Because even when he mentioned the whole new concept of Mega Evolution, he makes it seem like he has all of his riddles like on schedule, ready to be talked about. So that's what I'm like getting from him.
But
that's no doubt. That's about.
Did I lag out or did Soul lag out?
Soul did.
Yeah, I think Soul lagged out. Yeah, let's give him some seconds to get back. But
yeah, like I said, I think he's extremely confident this time around.
Hey, hello, are you back?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
I don't know. I keep losing connection, but I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Fun. Okay, cool. I was just saying that to a
okay.
Maybe yes.
Yeah, Soul. Yeah. You were like you're still lagging out. Now you're back. It's so weird. Like, you just the moment you stop talking, about your theories and stuff, and then you get back. What were you saying?
Yeah,
go again.
Perfect. All I was saying is that he was going to talk to his source in June, so now he knows a lot more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's true. Even Eclipse said that, which is giving him a tiny bit more credibility. He was like, don't expect any leaks until the June season. I remember him saying that back in February or March, was it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's just...
He did say it a while back.
Yeah. So it's just crazy how much we're like beginning to get.
Hold on, I'm gonna try to fix this really fast. You guys keep going.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So Cam, I might as well like check with you. So we went through that one. Is there anything else he's tweeted? Like I cannot recall. Has there been anything else massive? Because I think he went into the amount of new like Pokemon, like amount of new like Waifumons, Husbandomons.
He said
can you elaborate on that?
He said that there is 4 new evolution lines of Waifumons, and then he even goes on to specifically. I added a new channel for cool stuff. Also, Dusty made it. Hey, Dusty, what's up?
Hey, yo, what's up?
What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm in the car, so if this is awful for the, if this audio is awful, I'll leave.
No, it's all right, man. You can stay. We can hear you. Chat. If you guys can chat and let us know if you can hear him well. Let us know. But yeah, dude, we can hear you, man. It's like
excellent.
Yeah, it's
how's
not
everyone doing?
It's dude. Oh well, it's been a crazy stream. It's been a crazy stream.
Good.
We're kind of right now talking about like Riddler Coup and his stuff. But yeah, Cam, can you go further into like elaborate further on what you were saying?
Yeah, I made a new channel and I like pretty much did the coup archive, but he says that there are at least 4 new waifu mons in the Titan region. He says one appeals to furries, one appeals to plants, one appeals to lollies, and a queen fetish.
Yeah, that's everything. That's my entire identity.
Oh my god.
Well, I do wonder though. I'm very curious to know, like, how does this all, like, according to, like, in your guys' opinions, how does it all connect to, like, sorry, no, that's I'm getting off limit here. I'm going to a different thing, because I was actually more curious, like, about the puppy thing, like the Cerberus thing, like the doggy. Like, that's kind of the one I'm more curious about. Like, does any of this have a connection to that? Like,
Pooch,
like is this
forgetting about that?
Like, that's the
thing. The video
like,
he posted.
Like, yeah, with the dog and the dino head and everything. Like, yeah, they say they can hear you, Dusty, so that's good. But yeah, so what do we know about that? What do we think about that? Can, like, you guys go on that?
You can pull up Blazing Incineroar's post he made because he quote retweeted it and elaborated on it more, and I really liked what he said about it.
Let me save that and add it to the screen here so people can see it. Here we go. So this is the tweet that we're referring to right now. Here you go, guys. I'm gonna I have to close out a few tabs, but there you go. So can you guys go into it and explain what we're looking at right here?
Yeah, he Blazing Incineroar, by the way, shout out to him. He's usually in the chat on screen, like on stream. I really hope he's here this time. But he says that so the video Ku tweeted was about a 2-headed Cerberus, one a wild head for past and one obedient head for the future. Or the regional dog has 2 evos depending on the game. And then he goes on to credit Sobble 1406, which shout out to them too. But yeah, it says that they're a light eater. And I do think that because every game has given us a new dog Pokemon of sorts, like Gen 5 it was Lillipup, Gen 6 it was Furfrou, Gen 7 it was Rockruff, and Gen 8 it was Yamper. So we will get a new dog. I can pretty much say that's like one of the given things that every Pokedex has is like a new
Dogs are super popular. I expect a new dog Pokemon, and there's so many breeds of dogs to kind of base things off of. So I think that's a fair bet.
Yeah, so I think that they might tie in the new canine dog into the gimmick, and it might either be a Cerberus head, because 2-headed Pokemon have been a thing since Gen 1. We even gotten like 3 heads. So I think that they can go back to that, and they could theme it around past and future. But that's just a mini theory that I have.
That'd be sick.
I think that'd be cool.
I think it's spot on.
I don't think it's like too impossible. Is there anything else we're missing? What else? This is one that I want to know. This is one I want to know, and you guys have to tell me more about this. He said, "Ku, please tell us about cross-gen Evos. Anything, please." He says you already knew one. Is this Dunsparce we're talking about here?
It could be Dunsparce. It could even be Tauros, or it could be that ground and that ground water type he mentioned earlier. Like, the possibilities are just out there.
I think the opposite, actually. I think it can only be Dunsparce. You guys hear me good?
Yeah, we can. Your connection's
okay.
Good
now. Okay, cool. I think it can only be Dunsparce because of what the cross-gen Evo is.
Yes.
If you're talking like a regional Evo, it wouldn't work, because basically the Tauros and the water ground one that we know of, those are regional. Like, those are not regional evolutions, neither of them.
Oh yeah, he did.
They're both regional forms.
You're right.
Right.
So it must be Dunsparce.
So if they would have to evolve, they would be regional evolutions, just like Hisuian Sneasel evolves into Sneasler. Exactly that's a regional evolution. Yeah. Okay. So the only one that we know of is basically Dunsparce. In a way, he never said that Dunsparce gets a regional form. He just was saying mark this one that was about an. So that's one. I think there was one other option, but I can't think of it right now. Somebody brought up to me in a chat, and I can't remember. But I think it's Dunsparce.
Okay, so we pretty much are guaranteed getting a goddamn Dunsparce Evo, dude. That's
the last
sick,
yeah, pretty much.
What a time to be alive,
dude. That is crazy. Actually,
I agree.
The last thing he brought up was something about don't worry, Sisengate or many Husbandomons. Yeah, which means that there are many humanoid Pokemon. The developers found a perfect balance in design in this gen.
Yeah, that.
I wonder, like, because again, his perception of what's good and what's bad could be a little bit different from, like, you know, the rest of us, you know?
Yeah, but I trust
that's a good point. I'm wondering which designs from Legends Arceus he thought were actually good. Does anyone have that spreadsheet? Because
I don't, because I have no idea. It would be fantastic to know, though.
He didn't like Decidueye. That's
Decidueye is one of the best, probably the best, most unique starter of that.
I agree.
So, it was definitely one of the best ones. Like, so I don't know. Yeah. Like, if he thinks that's a bad one,
it is a matter of opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, man. Like,
someone's gonna make that Google Drive, that Google document.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's less about what he thought was good or not, and more about what he thinks is a waifu Husbandomon.
Exactly.
You know, like, because
that's true.
He was saying that the little girl in Pokemon Legends Arceus was a waifu, and I was like, that ain't no waifu, that's a child.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit weird, but jeez. But I don't know.
I hate how we're like analyzing. He makes us analyze the weirdest things.
Why are we even talking about this? It's such the weirdest shit.
Did you see my recent video? How like weirded? Like I was like, do I really want to talk about this?
Well, apparently yes. Apparently it's worth it.
Thus saying something.
Well, it's like we don't really have a lot of other options. Let's be fair. It's like it's either that or we're sitting and reading 4chan rumors every day. So like, you know, pick your poison.
Yeah.
And
true.
Right about now, I feel like the strange Riddler coup is the one I will take over the 4chan post number 397 million, dude. You know, like, it is what it is. I'll take what I get. I'll take what I get, my guy.
The last rumor, 4chan rumor that I reviewed on my channel, a lot of people were receiving it very well. Usually, you have most people just like saying this is fake, it's stupid, it's bad. It seemed like a lot of my comments were saying like how amazing the ideas were in that post. So
see, that's the thing, but that's the interesting part of like those 4chan rumors. It's less about like, you know, how likely are they to be, you know, like
it's the idea.
It's less
of it.
like likely how likely they are to be real, but more about like how the IDs actually could work really well. It's more like speculating about like what possibly could happen rather than actually genuinely like, you know, getting something out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's more like one of those things.
I wish people would just label them as that. Be like, here's my wish list, and then just like the same exact formatting as the rumors. But you know, the rumors, I feel like they're more attracted to them because of that air of possibility.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. I used to always just cover mainly the you know, the 4chan posts because that's the only option we used to have. We didn't have a Riddler coup per se. We had like individuals, but they were never named. There was never a name to associate to it. You know, it was always just kind of, you know, a blank face, so to say, that you kind of had to associate every post to. So you never had like an actual person.
Ben Affleck plays Pokemon.
Yeah, dude.
That's what it was.
But dude, yeah, but that's literally it though. That's the only option we fucking had, dude. Is like these the only options we had, which is, you know, why it's so hard to like, you know, for a lot of people to just accept those rumors on 4chan as being of any value, because they think that because all the like, you know, there was, you know, 100 fake ones, but there was one real one, you know, what's the point? Well, that's the thing. There always is a chance, and I think also it's more about like the speculative aspect of it rather than, you know, the actual like, you know, real like, you know, what it could be genuinely if it was real. You know what I mean? It's just the fun speculation part of it. You know?
Right.
That's kind of the way I look at it. I could be crazy, but that's the way I see it. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think you're right. Like 4chan rumors are, granted, they are starting to become like a relic of the past, but not really, because they do give us a lot of room for speculation and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
and it's less
I still cover them once in a while. You know, it's just like there's just it's like there's so much other stuff that there is to cover that they kind of fly under the radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when it comes to 4chan rumors, it's starting to become, like you said, it's less about whether or not it's legit and more about like, yo, that's cool in concept. Let's talk about how that would work. Like it's great discussion, but not really something you want to look for as like legit or like a news source.
Exactly. I think that's the best way to kind of put it.
Do we have any? Are there any questions in the chat?
Chat, do you guys have any questions? If you guys also, by the way, Cam and Soul, if you guys find any in the chat you guys want to like look into. Somebody's saying puke equals coup. You guys remember puke?
Yeah, that's an era of history right there.
Dude, puke. Yeah, puke is a classic, my guy. Classic puke fucking like, like...
I don't think puke was coup, though.
I don't think so, but... Yeah, I know. Ben Affleck plays Pokemon. Damn, that's great. So if you loved Amoris... Then you are, what the fuck is happening in chat? A new Eevee would be nice. Definitely will bump up their sales and hype even more. Has anybody asked him about Eevee? Has anybody asked Ku about Eevee?
Dude, oh my gosh, I was actually
asked
him.
I was actually going to comment.
But has he responded about it though?
I'll ask him.
No.
Okay.
Dusty will ask him. Dusty's going to take on the job. Dusty's going to ask him.
Oh my god. All right, Dusty, you got to do it now.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I know. Soul's like terrified that I'm gonna get that. Like, who's gonna get angry at SoulSilver because of me?
No, it was weird because I was actually going through Ku's replies and I saw that he actually blocked someone because they got a riddle right.
Really?
I was like, yeah, he did.
Wait, really?
He doesn't want to be associated.
Yeah, if you get a riddle correctly, he blocks you.
What?
That's hilarious.
Really?
You got Listen, this is how you talk. This is how you deal with Ku. You don't talk about Ku. You don't talk to Ku. You just take his information as it comes and say thank you. That's what I do.
Yeah, because the person. Yeah, the person got it was. I think it was either the legendary riddle or it was one of the Scarlet and Violet riddles. The person replied, and the tweet of like speculation about what they thought the riddle was. They ended up getting it right, and he ended up blocking them. And then once it was revealed, he unblocked them, and he was like, "By the way, I blocked you because you got it right."
That is different.
What department do we think Ku works at Game Freak?
None, I would say. But It's funny you mentioned that because I was about to literally say, do you guys think he's ever gonna get in trouble for like the info he puts out? Do you think he like realistically ever would get in trouble? What do you say?
He's an inside job. I respect him. He's an inside job.
But that's the thing though. Will he ever get like in trouble? Like, do we ever think like, because he's not technically
Dude,
he's not like he hasn't shown any actual footage, gameplay, etc. like images, nothing. He's not literally shown anything.
He's not doing anything.
With the copyright strike, but not him.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I'm wondering.
I keep checking his followers and going up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, when is it? He's got a way around it somehow.
Yeah, I think like Ruffle said, he's not technically revealing anything because he's just like when you look at it from like a more simplistic point of view, he's just posting weird pictures and making really cryptic tweets. And then once it's officially revealed, he'll come out and say, by the way, this is what this is about. He's not telling us anything. He's giving us hints towards something.
Exactly.
He's got diplomatic immunity. He's legally he's good.
He is legally clear. Like in terms of the court of law, I think he is like legally clear because he isn't technically giving anything out. Like he's not like, because like he's not giving out any intellectual property, of Game Freaks. He's not like putting out anything that belongs to them that that we didn't already know. You know what I mean? Like he's not like doing anything. He's just literally posting random images. Now, of course, you could make the association, but like in a court of law, maybe they could make the association, but I don't really think that's very likely. Like realistically speaking, I think that's very likely to happen though. So
yeah, even you can go, Dusty.
I'm just like, I don't know how he knows so much. I'm like, because at some point he's gonna run out of things to know unless he's still working on the team, right?
No, didn't
No,
he say that
that's
he
the
has a
thing.
person he talks to?
He's not the like that's the thing, Dusty. He's not the guy who works. He doesn't work at Game Freak. That's pretty clear. He's just receiving
How would he
information
know this
from. Well, no, but that's the thing. He's
from other
receiving
people.
info
Yeah,
from
yeah.
another person, like an individual that is associated. And also, I don't think it's somebody who works at Game Freak itself. I think who might be feeding him his info, like, could just be like somebody, a third party that like exists, you know,
That's true.
within the realm of like this whole like, you know, ecosystem over at Game Freak, like somebody, or like at the Pokemon Company and everything that connects to it. I feel like it's just somebody within the ecosystem that's then able to feed info all the way. Could be a playtester, could be something else, could be, you know, a family member of somebody. Literally, like, I know it's the meme of like, oh, my dad works at Nintendo or my uncle works at Nintendo, but like genuinely there are like people. It's so crazy. You guys have to think about it. There are so many times in life where, you know, the world really is a small place. And yeah, you could technically be knowing someone that knows someone else who literally has a parent that works at Nintendo or a cousin or whatever. It is possible. It's not impossible to assume that somebody has a contact who's willing to give information out because they just want to. Also, Munching Munchlax with a $10 donation, dude. Thank you so much, man. I do have a question for all of you guys. Okay. Based on the direct happening on the 29th, do you think we'll get info on that day or very early July? Have your thoughts changed on when we'd get a new trailer? I still think we're getting it the same day, like around the same time we're getting that Nintendo Direct. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Ruff, we should talk about that for sure. But
yeah,
I wanted to go back to Koo for like 1 second.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Do your thing.
Recently heard. Just remember that question. But I recently heard that one of the main reasons that they can't get him really is the whole situation with him being Chinese. Like all of the Chinese schools, they're hard to get to because of the like diplomatic situations. Like they can't. The Japanese people can't like come after them.
Oh yeah,
they literally cannot go after them
because China has a zero like extradition policy. They will not ever extradite one of their own nationals. But is Koo though? Is he Chinese? Do we know that?
Yes,
he's totally Chinese.
He is 100%.
He's totally Chinese.
Okay,
he was just speaking.
I'm
yesterday.
confident.
But no. But that's the thing. Well, he doesn't have to be Chinese. He could just be an individual that lives in China that is from another country. You know. Like just because
I think
nobody knows who he is.
Like yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know where he's like. But if he actually is, because that's why a lot of those like Chinese like leakers that have done stuff in the past, the uncles and stuff, are able to leak stuff is because of the fact that like, well, they can get in trouble. That's why a lot of like Chinese companies are also able to straight off. Like I don't know if you guys have seen those Pokemon rip-off mobile games. Have you guys ever seen those? Where it's like a Pokemon MMO with like they're stealing assets, they're like selling in-game purchases and shit, and they're all Chinese mobile rip-offs. And guess what? They can't do shit about it. They can't do anything because they're in China, and China will never support anyone besides their own nationals. Like they will always put their own nationals first, even in legal cases. Even though their people could be doing the wrong thing, it doesn't matter because that's just their policy. It's the China first policy. It's just how they operate.
That's why you can trust the Chinese like leaks, like stuff from Baidu and all of the Chinese uncles and stuff like that. That's all related to that.
Yep, exactly. So that's the thing. It's because, they can leak stuff without like worrying too much about it. But I didn't actually take into account that he would be like, like from there. I just didn't even take that into account. I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
Yeah,
I didn't even consider that.
He always posts stuff in China.
Yeah, but dude, you gotta understand. The way I look at it is like he could easily have somebody that's just translating shit for him. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he even said that he was Chinese at one point.
I've never seen him say that. So that's the thing. I somewhere along the way that has totally slipped my mind. So I just wasn't aware of it. That's all.
It's all good.
But yeah, okay, shit, that's kind of interesting.
Anyway.
Plus the broken English that in his tweets sometimes.
But yeah,
so today he literally posted a Chinese song, like because he wanted to.
I haven't kept up.
In a riddle.
Yeah, I don't think it was a riddle. He said that he posted it because the artist that sung this was caught in some scandal.
That's
random. He just for it's his personal Twitter, so he like posts whatever he wants.
By the way, guys,
someone asked him if it was a leak.
Guys, sad news: BTS is breaking up. It's so sad. Where's Young Cock? He's leaving.
Are they really breaking up? Somebody's gonna be sad about that. I actually have a friend from high school that's probably bawling her eyes out right now. All right.
Yep. That's the thing.
I am shedding so many tears over young cock leaving and them breaking up. I am so sad. He's not. I know. I'm just joking, guys. I'm just. Oh my god! I just fell in my chair. That's karma.
That shows how much we know about BTS.
No, they are. No. I know they're Korean. Chill. I'm not saying they're Chinese. I just like thought of the fact that like they're actually. Oh, by the way, fake eclipses in the chat. I just know that they're like taking a hiatus. Yeah, it's like we always have a fake eclipse in the chat for whatever reason. It could be real eclipse, but I don't think so. If it's real eclipse, hit me up in DMs right now. Send me a DM so I know it's you. But yeah.
Anyway, do you want to
go on?
Do you want to answer that one person's question about when we think the? I mean, not much.
Yeah. Go on. I already said my thoughts, but like, do you want to elaborate on that? Because you did have like a whole tweet about.
I mean, it just. The only thing that's happened is that other somebody leaked it from. I guess they used to work at IGN or something, and they leaked that it's going to be the 29th. I forget whose video. I was watching somebody's video. It might have been A-Drive's. I don't remember. But they were just, like, talking about it on stream. Like, oh, yeah, Nintendo Direct's happening on the 29th. And so that's why Centro's, like, super confident about it, and Samus Hunter thing, which, so Eclipse has been winning, and Samus Hunter's been losing. So,
oh, it is Eclipse, by the way. Yo, it is Eclipse, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Literally, it is. I thought it was the fake one. We always have a fake one in the chat, don't we? Actually, wait, Eclipse.
Yeah,
listen, I'm real, bro. Okay, Eclipse, I'm making you a mod just so we know which is the real Eclipse. Now, officially, we know. Because if he has the mod status, then you like that fake. It's really messed me up, dude. Dude,
yeah, because last week there was a fake eclipse and they were arguing with each other in the chat. I remember that.
I just know that like we usually have a fake one and it's always confusing to me which one is which. So I just kind of assume that they're always fake. But okay, so that's the real Eclipse, by the way. I modded you, by the way, Eclipse. I modded you to make sure that you that we know who you are. So you're a mod in chat right now.
Thus the fake eclipse arc is over.
Yeah, the arrow, the fake eclipse. Oh, that's sad though. That was such a good part of like this like the stream memes. But don't worry, we'll have a fake coup.
He didn't like it.
We still have fake coup, so
yeah, exactly. We have fake coup, so we're good. You know, like it's not the end of the world. We still got like a few fake arenas left. And he had like a 4-time weakness of fairy. Hi Eclipse. All right. Well, hey, like Eclipse, you can now say stuff in the chat and you have a blue icon, so now you can feel special. Imagine if you modded the wrong one. I hope not, because my guy just literally sent me 2 DMs, like, you know, about it. So, I mean, it says, what a waste of time, my friend. That fake Eclipse truly messed me up. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we know that that's real Eclipse, all right? Like, we can just start from there. But what was I going to say? I have totally lost track of... So, yeah, so we pretty much know then that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct at the end of the month, right? It's more or less confirmed.
It's highly likely.
Are we expecting Pokemon news?
I'm expecting the Treehouse to have Pokemon.
Oh man, yeah, me too. So that's so bad.
That's the hard part right there. So like maybe there won't be Pokemon news, but I think that there will be just because there was no E3 and they usually showcase things at E3.
Yeah, that's true. So I think
that's the biggest reason. Like it could even be in the Direct.
Yeah, they like. There's nothing stopping them.
Yeah, it could be some small stuff because there has been a lot of tweets as well. Welcome to the world of Pokemon. Wait, welcome to. Oh, you just said welcome to the world of Pokemon in chat. Hello there, Eclipse. How you doing? But wait.
You have to think like it's like their biggest game this year. I mean, there's tons of games, but it's the biggest still. They're still going to promote the crap out of it.
But that's what I'm thinking about.
Like no Breath of the Wild.
Because Nintendo has been tweeting a lot, if you guys have noticed, like about these games. They've been tweeting out like a lot of like, you know, things about them. So it's not too hard to assume that, yeah, these are pretty big games for them. So they're probably going to want to promote them and show things off to more than just because that's the thing. You got to understand, like Nintendo Directs are watched by everyone. Pokemon Presents are watched just by like, you know, Pokemon fans. Right, so they do
want to advertise to speak open world.
Exactly, and if you want to get everybody in, you make sure that you promote it everywhere, not just in one place. Even though that probably does piss off, like, you know, Game Freak and them a little bit because they always want to have their own attention separately from everybody else. But
yeah, would explain why there's no presents. like when you think about it, they would most likely want to show off this big thing and like a presents, and maybe Nintendo's like, hold up, wait, this is a open world game you're advertising. But you see how people are obsessed with Breath of the Wild. Let's put this in our big direct where there's going to be millions of people watching. So because of course we all know that Breath of the Wild 3 not 3 Breath of the Wild 2 is delayed to 2023. So they're probably like, this is going to be our open world game of the year. All eyes are going to be, we need eyes to be glued on this. So we want this to be in our big direct where it's going to be like probably like 3 million, 4 million people glued, like eyes glued on this, and maybe Sally, who's a Zelda fan but not a Pokemon fan, is going to be like, oh wow, Pokemon's going open world, I might actually buy this one. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
it makes too much sense.
Yeah, it does make total sense.
So it's likely. It's likely.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree.
And then there's the countdown, obviously, too.
Yeah, that too. There's that too.
And that might be why we just got a small trailer. Maybe we might actually get that big blowout that we were hoping for in this Nintendo Direct. Like we might just get a whole portion that's dedicated to Scarlet and Violet.
I don't know if it'd be big. I think it's like two trailers together. What we were supposed to get.
Yeah,
basically. That's what I think.
When I mean big, I just mean, oh look, Blazing Sonora's in the chat. But when I mean big, I mean like that big 4 minute trailer that we were expecting, showcasing a gimmick and a region name, and then we move on to the next game. Like they might shadow drop Bayonetta 3 release date or something like that. Like they just like, by the way, here's this huge Scarlet and Violet trailer. Anyways, we're gonna elaborate that later. Here's a new Breath of the Wild 2 trailer to end things off, like something like that.
Yeah, and if at the very least we'll get a treehouse, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh man, those treehouses typically have gameplay, right? Actual gameplay.
Like 20 to 30
so
minutes
I
of
can totally
gameplay.
see there being gameplay. Yeah.
I just want to see how the overworld actually plays. I just want to see what it's actually going to be like. Because like, it was exciting to see Sword and Shield. Obviously there were problems with that, and the treehouse obviously blew up. And that blew up because of the national decks, but it was cool to see the wild area for the first time.
Yeah,
I remember being so hyped for that, and then they killed it like 3 minutes after. Like,
yeah, these Wingo look so cool.
Dude, I did not care at all.
I don't care anymore now.
I don't care about the national decks. I didn't care then either. I was like, oh, what does that mean? Because I never used old Pokemon, so I was just like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, but you know what it is? I do use a lot of old Pokemon. I love using old Pokemon. But like, you know what? You know what it is? You know what the argument?
Tons of people do, apparently.
Can I say this? You know what the issue was for me? It wasn't about like, oh, the national dex isn't there. It was more about the fact that they told us that they like during that whole like treehouse that, oh, we made sure to polish up the game, and that's why we're not including so many Pokemon and whatever, right? That was the whole like reasoning, which that's the problem. Mm-hmm. That's bullshit. And you know it.
Yeah,
There's no way you can use that argument that, oh, we removed it because guess what? The game wasn't fucking polished. Sword and Shield were like the furthest thing from polished. The graphics really weren't up to par from what they could have been, which is what we see in Scarlet and Violet now, where there is still lacking issues with some of the texture work. I don't know what it is. I mean, of course, the games aren't out yet, so there's always a subject to change. But there's still some issues. But if you actually look at these games, you clearly can see a big difference. The character model quality is up. The graphics look better. The actual models of some of the trees actually look good now. Like the foliage, everything does look better. Some of the ground textures still look a little bit off, but the Pokemon textures look immaculate. I think
they overpromised like what we were actually going to be receiving in exchange for the lack of Pokemon. I think part of it was true. I mean, to the extent of the truth, they did lie, but for me, honestly, the National Dex wasn't really about using old Pokemon and like catching a Ghastly and then evolving it into Gengar, right? It's not really about that. For me, it's like the Pokemon I collect over the years, they are like artifacts of pieces of my life. I use Pokemon as a picture book, right? Like I have Pokemon from 2010. Like one of my first, like I guess the oldest shiny that I have is it's a Steelix that I got in the Safari Zone in Heart Gold Soul Silver. I gave it a nickname. I battled with it all throughout Gen 4 and Gen 5. Gen 6, all through college, all through high school. And like, I'm thankful I can bring that into Sword and Shield and interact with it. And I've got a whole bunch of Pokemon, not even shinies, but like even just random things, or a Pokemon that like my friend gives me. So it has like, it'll have his original trainer. It'll have the nickname that he gave it. And I'll like, I've got memories with that. Me and my friends keep a running tally of all of our battles going back to high school. So like for me, the National Dex is a means of like, not just storing the Pokemon, but being able to interact with them as well. Because now it's like for 3 years, there's been, I don't know, like I have a bunch of Pokemon, like a Pidgeot, shiny Pidgeot, that I got in Oras. I just have no connection with it now for that. Like there's a gap in the timeline for me in that Pokemon. That's kind of what the National Dex, that's the main issue for me. And I think, going forward, if we continue to get maybe Masuda, now that Masuda's not running or directing Pokemon games, and maybe he can oversee more spin-offs like BDSP that were developed by another company. And if we're seeing all these different types of games, and we're seeing more of them, then maybe the National Dex won't really be that big of a problem, because I can still access these Pokemon in different games.
Yeah. I think that's
true.
Work.
That's just for me. I don't know if other people do it the same way, but that's my problem with the National Dex.
Yeah, it'll all work out in the end. I agree with you about it being like artifacts and keeping and saving the ones that you had from a long time ago. It's always nice.
Yeah. It's not day to day. It's not that dramatic. It just, that is what it is. That is how I use it. Like I have so many Pokemon from different memories, from different access points, and there's a whole bunch of them just stuck in Pokemon Home, and I can't even interact with them in Pokemon Home.
Yeah,
it's not like there's a battle simulator in Pokemon Home. It's not like there's Pokemon Camp in Pokemon Home. I can't even, it's like they're there, but I can't bring them into a new game. So
that's fair. That's true.
So hopefully in Gen 9, like if whether it's Scarlet and Violet or the next game or the DLC, yeah, as long as I can bring those Pokemon into a Switch console game, I think it won't feel so bad anymore.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to use Zangoose in Sword and Shield, but if Survivors and Scarlet and Violet, then Zangoose also has a shot, so I'm not as upset as I would be normally. Plus, Zangoose is in BDSP, so.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Something you got to say, Ruffled?
No, I don't really have much to add, to be honest. I'm kind of like, I'm dry, to be honest with you guys.
I was going to say, you seem like deep in thought. I was like, bro, was Dusty's speech that impactful?
I don't know, dude. This is one of those times where I've just run dry on thoughts. It's late and I'm lost on IDs, which actually leads me perfectly into the fact that we've been going for almost 3 hours on this podcast, which I think is it about time to end this one, boys?
Yeah.
I think you definitely said a whole lot.
Well, hey, Dusty, I'm glad you came in, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm just glad I was able to reach the door. I missed Cayla. That was too funny.
We're glad.
Yeah, you jumped on just as she was leaving, I think. Just as she had left, you came in. So it's
it's all right.
Weird timing.
This episode was like a weird sitcom.
Yeah, it was a strange episode, this one, wasn't it? But you know what's great, guys? This time I can upload the VOD right away. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be up on the PokéManiacs podcast channel, which you guys can go check out right now. Just search up PokéManiacs podcast. You'll find it. The first result. It uses this logo up here in case you guys...
Yeah, we got to get that to 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, we're almost at 500, by the way. 437, I think, last I checked. So let's get to 1,000 subs. Let's... But also, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be posted right away because this time, instead of actually doing my scuff thing of having to re-download it, I actually recorded this whole thing. So we have 2 fucking hours and 53 minutes long recording. It's horrible.
Nice.
Either way, ladies and gents, this is going to be posted over there if you guys want to re-watch it and go back and check anything out that you may have missed. But in terms of the podcast part of this, if you're watching this for mainly the podcast, that's going to be ending in this section. I'm still going to be like live for a few more minutes, just kind of finishing things up and all that. But I guess let's end things off here. So first things first, guys, go of course to check out Cayla Capsule, her channel. She joined us. She was a guest today. She had to leave, of course, but she was here throughout the beginning of the actual what do we call it? This the stream. So first of all, go check her channel out. It's going to be, of course, linked in the description as well of the video format of this. And also, John, thank you for the $2. Have you said in my early donation? Yeah, if you want to DM me, John, you can always do that, man. You can go right ahead. But thank you for the donations, mate. I appreciate it. But what was I going to say? Of course, check out the lads who have been here in here today. Of course, SoulSilverArt over on Twitter. Congratulations on 10K, by the way, dude. Little fucking applaud to SoulSilver, my guy. A little applaud. But you, dude, for real, congratulations on that. So, guys, go check out, of course, SoulSilverArt's Twitter account. Because he just refuses to make a YouTube account to make videos about his stuff.
He's at 10.1K now.
Ooh, look at that. But yeah, go check him out, guys. Of course, if we can get Suba in the chat right now, if you can link them his Twitter account, and also, of course, check out Camtendo, his channel. What are you on right now, by the way?
1.3.
Nice. So closing in on that 1.5, dude. And of course, check out Dusty. Dusty, are you close to 7K, or is it still like a bit to go?
Yeah, we're cruising, man. We're cruising. Only come over to the channel if you're going to enjoy the videos and watch them. We got a great community over there.
Alrighty, there you guys. Yeah. So there you go.
Just put out a new video, by the way.
Check out Cam. Check out Dusty. Their channels, of course, should be also. Let me see. I'll see if I can get. Do you guys have your channels linked? You guys don't have your channels linked here, do you? Nope. I'm gonna have to. Let's see. Camtendo. The thing is, I don't have like everything on hand. Is the problem? Let's see.
Good, man. Dude, we do this every week. It's all good.
Here we go. I think I found it. I think I got a link. Never mind. That's the scuffed link. Here we go. Jeez. Oh, my lord. There we go. So, there you guys go. Camtendo's channel. Go check him out. Give him a sub. And, of course, also Dusty. Let's see. Dusty Go-Goat. Gonna get you guys that link as well. Real quick.
This has been so much fun, guys. I feel like we're genuinely just hanging out, and I'm able to do this every week. It's so much fun. I feel like we're just hanging out with the friends, with the boys.
Yep. Pretty much.
And our guests in real life. It's great.
Oh, dude, I really want to do like in the future, like a real life episode of this, like where we actually are all sitting next to each other. That would be sick.
That would be sick.
So,
I'm back somehow.
Yo, welcome back, my friend. We were just about like
oh my god,
episode. We're congratulating you on the 10K, by the way, dude. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks so much.
We're celebrating without you.
It's a big day. I wouldn't have it any other way. There you go.
But what do we miss? I'm thinking. Oh yeah, so I've already linked. We're linking everything in the chat, guys. Of course, go to the podcast channel if you want to see the VOD of this, like the VOD upload, which will be up there. And again, like I said, that's going to be the end of the podcast episode. I'll of course be streaming a little bit after this. I just want to chill, talk about like all that sort of stuff. And of course, yeah, let's get Cayla's channel as well. Let's see.
Cayla's capsule, 2 C's.
Yeah, I've got the link. Here you go, guys. There's all the links. I'm just trying to get my hands on everything. There you go, guys. Go give her a sub. I think she's closing in on that 4K mark. So go give her a sub. Go get her to that 4K.
She's crushing it.
Let's see. I think we've pretty much gone through everything. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. That's going to be a bye-bye from me and the boys.
Peace.
Have a good
Yeah.
one, lads. We'll see you all in the next podcast. That's the end of the episode.